Ladies and gentlemen, hope you're all doing well. Welcome to the stream. Today is going to be a four-man tournament, so we have Tim the Wilder facing off against Houseplan in our first match. Bottom side of the bracket is going to be Zyphos facing off against Platypus. The winners of these two best-of-threes will be facing off in a best-of-5 grand final, so kind of an old-school Flash tournament. That was kind of how we started doing tournaments on our channel way back in the day. It was essentially just getting four players together and having a duel of fates. But this is the grand finals of our Swiss League. So we ran an offline Swiss League, which means it was kind of just run over the course of 6 weeks. And these are the top four players from that league, and they're going to be playing out to see who's going to be getting the tournament W. Welcome, welcome. Hope you're all doing well. I know we actually got started only 10 minutes late, give or take. We had a little bit of an issue. Sometimes when you're running with the map packs and whatnot, there can be some compatibility issues if one person forgets to update like myself. So we had to get that all squared away. Yeah, that's the Dwarven trailer music from Warhammer 1. So that is the High King Thorgrim theme. It's pretty great. Dude, that trailer that they did, Creative Assembly did just with the Immortal Empires launch, I think that's probably the best trailer they've ever done. I don't know, man. I mean, there's some other great trailers, but just like the depth of characters, like, everybody gets a little bit of love in that trailer, except the Ogre Kingdoms. I don't think the Ogres were in that trailer, but everybody else did. Imagine if they just had like Greasus just sitting there like at the council meeting, just sitting there on his like little scooter. Yeah, that would have been pretty funny. That's a grudgeon. So they're doing their picks and bans right now, and we'll see what they're going to be doing. I see them sitting on bretonnia and beastmen. Granted, I highly doubt that that's going to be the range of factions here. All right, let's look here. And checking. Yep, they're still doing their picks and bans and everything, so we have a little bit of time. All right, so let me do this. Totally forgot to tell people I was streaming. Just terrible at my job. Yeah, but that trailer, I mean, I don't know. I don't know what can hold a candle to that. That felt pretty epic. Okay, so we got that, and it looks like we're all set here. And one last one, and then we will be good to hang out. Here. Alrighty. Perfect. Very good. So I think it's going to be Norska in the first game. It looks like one of the players is playing Norska, and we don't know what the other faction is quite yet. We'll be finding out in a couple seconds here. Dude, yeah, the vampires had a little bit of representation in the trailer. They had the Colossus, which got its leg lasered off by the Iro Titan. It was pretty awesome, man. The trailer was great. Also, sure happy they did. Yeah, it was a win-win for sure. And of course, a little teaser at the end was fun. Why is this called the Gran Torino Swiss League? So it was a league I ran offline, and these are basically the finalists for that league. So it was run over the course of 6 weeks, and these individuals in today's tournament, the top four, are the folks who had the four best records, including tiebreakers, after all is said and done, and they're going to be playing to see who is the grand champ. That's true, Gunhound. That's true. You raise a good point. Pretty excited to jump into the new age patch as well. We'll be doing a stream for that sometime in the next few days. Tim the Builder. Oh, look at that. His name has evolved. Yeah, what was my favorite part in the trailer? Obviously being an Empire fan, the whole trailer was just was definitely a power fantasy. You get to have Karl Franz kind of being the centerpiece and taking place in Altdorf and seeing all the cool characters and then obviously the big battle at the end with Katarine and Franz, like when he flies down and lets out the blood roar with the bird. It was pretty rad. Did you spot this Skaven? Yeah. I spotted. Well, I don't know. Are you talking about during the trailer or at the very end? During the teaser? I don't know. I didn't look that closely. I suppose they might have been lurking about. Dude, it's very exciting stuff, though. It's very exciting. Is it going to be High Elves versus Norska? I wonder what the High Elf meta is against that. Okay, so Tim the Wilder is going to be going High Elves. Okay, so we have High Elves versus Norska in our first fight. I don't know why we always end up in this matchup. We always end up in this bad boy. Like, since the launch of Immortal Empires, the beta, I suppose you could say. Yeah, this has been one that I've seen quite a bit as well. Welcome to Western Cathay, gentlemen. That scene was really cool when they had Balthazar Gelt and the Iron Dragon like shooting their like joint artillery at like the massive Skaven army. That was pretty rad. Yeah, the Helgi schemes was the highlight. Yeah, the dwarves are great. Dwarves are always great. Just classic fantasy dwarves, right? Just being what they are. It was awesome. The Bretonian bit was cool too, and they had like King Lewin and Alberic and the was it the Faint Enchantress charging out together? Oh no, it was Rapunce. Yeah, it was Rapunce, Alberic, and King Lewin like charging in that like kind of Mighty Ducks flying V formation. That was really badass. That was awesome. Gelt and Zhao Ming raining down hot fire in the Skaven was great. Yeah, what was really cool about that part too is the Skaven character, like who's getting you know, basically napalmed by those by the Empire in Cathay. He's like raises his arms just like as the fire's like dropping on his armies, and like yeah, he did like the Bane like come at me dude thing. It was pretty awesome. Yeah, the Gotrek and Felix bit was also like a huge like awesome gem, like classic Warhammer Fantasy, right? You have those yeah, those two iconic characters standing down against or facing off against just this mighty foe. I wonder if Gotrek and Felix could actually defeat Skarbrand in the game together. Probably not. I feel like Skarbrand would just kill Felix really quick, and then probably Gotrek would struggle to finish him. Although maybe, I don't know. Felix, there would be some RNG, but I'm actually curious about that. That was Queek? Yeah, that was Queek. That was Queek. Hey, thank you. We had a donation from Penny that I did miss. Thank you so much, Penny. Live Warhammer and a glass of wine. Stay classy Saturday evening over here in the UK. Well, hey, hopefully the early stream is a little bit better for you. I know most of our streams have been a little bit later, kind of tough for folks over in the European realm, but yeah, trying to get a little bit of early action. Yeah, Mel Gibson and Oxyotl. Yeah, that was fun. That was pretty cool. Yeah, if Gotrek protected Felix, they could win. Yeah, it'd be interesting to see how that would go. Gotrek does have that really good... and the thing is, if Gotrek's healing ability wasn't bugged, they might be able to win, because Gotrek has the ability to heal himself when he gets really low, but currently it's bugged. It's really stupid. It just doesn't work most of the time. So I suppose if Gotrek's like Fortitude ability worked, they might be able to beat Skarbrand together, because Felix hits very hard. He also he has bonus for his infantry, but he still can hit monsters pretty hard because he has quite good armor piercing values. So that's something we should test, actually. Yeah. Apparently somebody tested, and with both Gotrek all about beat Skarbrand. Oh, okay, cool. So Gotrek can almost get there on his own. So with Felix, then what you're saying is that it would be pretty good. So yeah, 3 players in today's grand finals are champions of RTK. RTK clearly one of the more dominant, powerful clans as it pertains to domination mode and that form of multiplayer. Very, very strong. One ODM member, Zyphos, is here. A little bit out of practice, he said, but nonetheless, Zyphos is a true veteran of Total War multiplayer. He has been playing since the dawn of time. Zyphos is like one of the last players standing who was a top player in the world in Warhammer 1. And he still just keeps it going, man. He is here in Warhammer 3. He's doing great, and yeah, it's good stuff. First match, going to be High Elves versus Norska on Black Ark. Figured we'd go back to some of the classic maps. So we have Itza and Black Ark in today's tournament map pool. Not going to be seeing any of the other maps. I mean, Arnheim is okay, but honestly, it's kind of janky. Arnheim isn't really fair because one side starts with like a huge forest where they can hide their army and the other side doesn't. So it's just kind of like, it's just not a great map. Platypus says RDK sounds like a bunch of nerds. Nerds. Man, yeah, I was watching clips from the how was that? Was it called Revenge of the Nerds? That like 80s college comedy movie. Yeah. Pretty trippy stuff. All right, guys. So, taking a look here at the build of Tim the Wilder. Tim is going to be coming in with an Archmage of Life. Archmage of Life, of course, does have the dreaded Moondragon breath attacks. Nothing special per se, but the breath attacks can, of course, be pretty good against Marauder Champions and units of that type. Marauder Champions are just such a good anchor piece because they will obviously defeat most of the baseline cheap Elven infantry pretty decisively, but just because their stats are so good and they have the Enrage mechanic, they actually trade deceivingly well into things like White Lions and units that theoretically should be a counter against them. Marauder Champions are very, very, very good. Willamos, Jankuya Bardzo, finally catching up live. Thanks for the stream, Turin. Also can't wait for the Blood Bowl 3. Regards from the mighty Pierogi Land. Dude, I'm going to be out in Pierogi Land most likely for next Christmas next year. So, yeah, for the holidays. So that should be fun. Thank you so much, Jankuya Bardzo, my friend. I hope all is well and you're eating pierogi and pashtet and all that delicious food that you guys have out there. Okay, Archmage is here with Earthblood. Earthblood, reasonably helpful against like White Lines of Grace and baseline infantry troops. Regrowth a little bit better if you're going to be bringing in things like the Fireborn and big targets that want that juicy big healing. But for the most part, just going for cheap Earth Blood spam is never a bad idea. And, you know, White Lines of Craze don't trade terribly with Marauder Champions. They can certainly bump and grind with those guys. All right, now on the other side, here we are. We do have Marauders backed up by Marauder Champions and Marauders with great weapons as well. And Norska is usually going to be spamming Marauder Champions in almost every matchup. They're just so good. They have 20 more models than Zargard. So Zargard, they cost about the same. Zargard have 20 less models, less HP. These guys have like 14 more weapon strength, and they also have the ability to gain physical resist as well as leadership and melee attack as they do progress. So yeah, that is pretty much it, ladies and gentlemen. The battle is soon to be on. Wulfric the Wanderer is here. Premier Balefiend of Shadows going to be moving up as well. Marauder Hunter with javelins in the back, and we will see how this all unfolds. Yeah, Blood Bowl's coming out this next week. Going to be quite a bit of fun. We'll get some more Warhammer action here on the channel. We got Marauders and Marauder Great Weapons down here. Marauder Great Weapons will trade very cost effectively into a lot of the Elven stuff, especially since Elves like to bring Silver and Guard, although we see base Experiment here. But yeah, Marauder Great Weapons, I think, from Houseplan is probably a tech to help, you know, trade cost effectively into like Silver and Guard and, you know, different units like that. So, all right, the battle is soon to be on. The Dragon going to be looking for some freebies. Could come down here. Houseplan, of course, one of the top players in the world. Tim the Wilder has gotten consistent top 16s as well on Total Tavern. So both are very, very strong players. Houseplan coming off some very strong performances in the recent World Championships and some of the bigger events that we've had. And of course, once we know when the when we're going to be getting like the hard content update, getting some new stuff, we'll then be ending the current Total Tavern season and having a grand finals before we move on and start our next season with the new content. So should be quite a bit of fun. Yeah, it's been a while, man. It's been a while since we've had a good jolly event here on the channel. Javelin's coming out, not seeing Marauder Horsemen. You know, that's kind of interesting. Houseplant in a lot of the games I've seen really quite efficient with using Marauder Horsemen. I expected maybe to see some to keep these dragons and phoenix type characters in check. We do have Wulfric running over here on his horse. Wulfric, man, he had a cool moment in the trailer for sure. You see him running forward with the hordes of chaos, and apparently he takes down a Terracotta Sentinel, which ironically, I do think Wulfric would probably lose to a Terracotta Sentinel in combat, simply because he does not have a good armor piercing value. So he even, was that what we called it? Yeah, back in Warhammer 2, like there was a lot of like really powerful duelist characters that were actually just terrible duelists because they didn't have armor piercing. And Wulfric for me has always been one of those. I mean, he's not terrible, he's great. His Sea Fang ability is really good, and he's still an awesome duelist. But yeah, we called it like Wulfric the Wanderer syndrome, basically, where it's just like you have like these characters who are lauded as like just the absolute chads of dueling, but they just don't have any means of piercing armor, so they just can't beat any other significant like dual combat lords, right? So, spears are up for Tim the Wilder. Tim going to be playing the 2 objective approach. Going to be parking here on objective 3, grabbing objective 1 of the high ground. And look at this. Oh, I like this a lot from Tim. This is kind of a cool tech. Bring out Reaver Archers. Reaver Archers, of course, can outrange the Javelins, 140 range to 90. So they can basically just kind of sit here and poke them. And I do like that tech. I wouldn't hate seeing like another 1 or 2 of those summoned. They can also shoot the great weapons pretty effectively. So there's plenty of targets for them. Uh-oh, is this the Cold Voider? It is. All right, guys. We got the Cold Voider, the dreaded Frostworm of old. So this thing is Frostbite, has of course Frost Breath attacks, and it does have the Chilling Aura, which can slow things down. So if you get caught by the Frost Voider, it's going to be very, very tough to get away because the Frostbite and the Aura do stack. So you get 30% and you get another 30%. If you're able to apply both those effects, and then suddenly, you know, your Archmage is going to be moving, you know, a speed in the 20s or somewhere in that ballpark as well. So. All right, where's the Breath Attack coming? I would imagine going to be lining up down the side. White Lines of Cracer here. Looks like some archers going to be teeing off into the Cold Voider, but of course Houseplan not going to be falling for those tricks. Now, where's the first Sea Fang going to be going? White Lines of Cracer are like not super tightly packed. They're in a little bit of a looser formation. But still, I think they probably would be an optimal target. You could get an archer, but I don't think that's going to be terribly cost effective. And now Norska has taken the objective. So they have the Marauder Champions here. They do have the Cold Voider, Wulfric, and now they're just going to be challenging the High Elves to come forward. And this kind of puts Tim in a bit of a tricky position. He's going to have to decide how he wants to, you know, redeploy his forces. Looks like he does have Silver and Guard coming up. Silver and Guard will hold Marauder Champions back for quite some time. They do have the high armor and really good melee defense. I mean, their stat lines are kind of similar outside of the damage output. Marauder Champions, of course, are insane because of how good their damage output is. The Elves could do a bit of a double push. I mean, they could take these White Lines of Crace and these Rangers and move up here, but yeah, Marauder Champions are such a pain. Granted, if you do send the Dragon over there and get a couple, you know, breath attacks, the Dragon might be able to kind of turn the tide in that Marauder Champion fight. Now, Wulfric looks like he's maybe planning a Sea Fang. He's kind of sitting here like there could be one right down the pipe right here. I wonder Yeah, you could have gotten one like that, but I mean, they're just basic spearmen units. And now the spearmen actually going to be moving in and fighting, so the elves are going to be opting to take a fight here. Well, the Cold Voider, oh my god, look at this. Oh, that's a great play. Using Hunter of Champions to just mitigate the stats and also slow it down. Look at this, 9 movement speed on the Archmage right now, as the Cold Voider forces it to land and also does a little bit of damage right there. It looks like Pit of Shades going down and Sea Fang in the back. So that's pretty brutal. So, oh my god, the one Sea Fang just shatters those archers. And then over here, we see the other archers getting caught in the Pit of Shades. Nasty, nasty start from Houseplant. We can see why he is, you know, the world champion. He is an absolute beast, targeting. Really, really mechanical, efficient play here, as we do see the big Archmage battling the Cold Voider, and it looks like it's not going badly for the Archmage. With healing taken into account, the Archmage might be able to trade a little bit better, but man, 34 movement speed, man. So yeah, you might as well just stay and fight. You're not going to be able to get away terribly efficiently. Here we have Marauder Champions, or Marauders with Great Opens, battling the White Lions of Krace, but overall it looks like Norska is kind of dominating most of the fights down here. And of course, with the White Lions of Krace normally would defeat these Marauders pretty decisively, but when you mix in a Balefiend, the Balefiend actually sunders their armor down to 60. A lot of people don't know this about Balefiends, and they're pretty good armor-piercing fighters themselves, so that will probably help turn the tide. And now the Marauder Champions piling in to help finish them off after the basic Marauder chaff do their thing. Archers have come back, and we do have Reaver Archers going after the Cold Voider. No plays really going down to the high ground right now, so we do see a couple Spears and White Lions of Krace and a Bolt Thrower coming out. Interesting. So the Bolt Thrower is going to be able to rip some shots into the Marauder Hunter Javelins here, and it looks like they're in spray fire mode, so yeah, going in the loose fire, that's actually pretty damn effective. Taking down a Marauder Champion like that ain't bad. So Tim the Wilder actually gets a comeback pick here. Look at that. So the Archmage of Life kicks the Cold Voider's butt pretty badly, and that thing's going to be forced off the edge of the battlefield. It looks like some of the archers were able to lend some support, and Tim the Wilder does pull the value back as more and more Spearmen and Silver and Guard move in, but this is definitely a very dangerous play here. And, okay, Tim does see it. He did bunch up multiple infantry units, which would have been a very erect Pit of Shades. As now we see the objective start to come back here. Big breath attack coming in from Tim the Wilder, who did not hear no bell. As the High Elves continue to fight back, but the high ground is going to be a very, very tough one indeed. Marauders moving in to fight Spears. Looks like Marauder Champions as well. White Lions of Krace versus Marauder Champions. I feel like the Marauder Champion barely wins that. Like, barely. Granted, they do cost a couple hundred more, if I'm not mistaken, than the White Lion, but the White Lions of Krace will, of course, be able to do some significant damage to them. Spray fire mode, still shooting in the back. Looks like one unit of Javelins has been taken offline. Rangers going to be moving up. Rangers are a very good counter against Marauder units. They have physical resist, they have good combat stats, and they also do have a bonus for infantry as well. So the Cold Voider has run. Some people in chat saying the meme hath fallen. So here's the thing. The Cold Voider is not a meme. It's actually a very meta unit. Houseplant is not a player who memes. He does. I don't think I've ever seen him meme. Maybe once or twice, like in like a non-tournament setting. But he's here to win. He's definitely a very, very competitive player. Now, this could have been a throw by Tim. Tim does land the Archmage of Life, and Wulfric, as well as the Balefiend, able to get some really, really big damage there. And if the Archmage does get karate chopped by the Wanderer, that's going to be pretty awful for the Elves for sure. And it looks like the Archmage will be able to just barely get away, might be able to come back and heal, but Tim the Wilder was up by like 1,500 value, but now giving that value back here, Archmage could potentially die. We do see some Reaver Cav coming in. Reavers could maybe get in there and save the Dragon. Okay, the Dragon does get up in the sky. Pit of Shades going down. Pit of Shades going to be nailing all those Silver and Guard, also some of the Reaver units here, as more Cav are sent in to protect the Archmage of Life. So it looks like the Archmage did land, maybe tried to attack Wulfric, but then got caught in Hunter of Champions and or a 2v1 versus the Balefiend. Up on the high ground, Norska moving in. We do have some Condom Wolves, so they're going to be on their way up. Skin Wolves, they're pretty good against High Elves. They defeat Reavers pretty decisively. They can fight Silver Helms very well, and they do win that fight as well, depending on the charging circumstances. And also, not bad against some of the monsters. So we do see some high ground pushing. Elves are barely holding on to this point. Archers shooting into this blob here, able to wear down some of the Marauders. But Marauder Champions are that sustainable piece that are just such an unholy nightmare. And we do get to answer that question. So Marauder Champions actually with very, I wouldn't say decisive, but yeah, they were able to maintain 30% of their HP while, you know, beating a unit that theoretically has armor against their non-armor piercing. So yeah, Marauder Champions showing why they're one of the best infantry units in the entire game. Now over here, Wulfric moving through. Back objective going to be taken by Norska. Elves looked like they had a little bit of a comeback in them. Tim the Wilder certainly was off to a decent start, but having that Archmage kind of land and getting beaten up there was very, very tough for sure. As we look and we see the Norskin swarming, the last of the brave High Elf Spearmen holding here on the point, but those Marauder Champions showing why they are the top dogs here in this battle as they cleave through the Elves. And going up to the high ground, we can see, looks like it's Spears and Rangers trying to hold it down, but that's going to be a triple cap for Norska. Norska's infantry quality really is very, very strong, and they have good supporting pieces too. It's pretty crazy. Like, Norska is a faction that has got no updates whatsoever. I mean, High Elves have had multiple DLCs. They had the the Crone DLC, and then they also had the Grom the Paunch DLC. But yeah, they've gotten 2 patches worth of units, and Norska's got nothing. And Norska is still considered to be one of the best factions in the entire game. But yeah, the dragon character getting karate chop for Tim was pretty rough. Now, is there a chance for a comeback? I mean, Houseplant would have to throw pretty hard. He would have to like let Wulfric die and the Balefiend die here, and then maybe the dragon could get like some terror routes and start to work the battle back. Probably going to be another Pit of Shades going down here on the Silver Guard. Granted, they're trading pretty well, able to poke back some of these units. Looks like an Earthblood coming in on the Archmage here. As, oh my god, what a beautiful Pit of Shades timing. He saw the Rangers moving in and just times the Pit of Shades right as they advance up, and it's going to be hitting the Archers and those Rangers. Talk about just great target priority here from Houseplant. Up on the high ground, we got Spears battling, Rangers cutting through these guys, and they'll get there eventually. White Lines of Crace should be able to defeat these Marauder champions, and Silver and Guard will hold them at bay. So there is a slim chance that Tim could get, you know, this objective back. I mean, he's starting to creep the value back a little bit, despite the dragon getting beaten up. And remember, he does have healing. Okay, breath attack coming in, not bad. Does hit that Balefiend as the Spears do surge back in. Could we see a comeback here from the Elves? It's going to be very tricky. Houseplant is an incredibly scrappy and cerebral player here. It's going to be tough. I would imagine it's a triple cap situation at this point, obviously looking at the score. So he's going to have to get all 3 objectives, and it looked like the Archmage might have overextended once again, although it does get a terror route down. We see Reaver Cap coming in, and Wulfric turns around to do battle with the Archmage. Archmage does not have the Hunter of Champions on him, so he's going to be, I think it's a lady actually. Oh, wow. Gets back up in the sky. Okay, that was kind of interesting. But this objective is going to be flipping back, and it looks like there is going to be a Norscan response. We got Marauder Champions and Great Weapons coming in, but the Elves do have a decent core of infantry here. That Dragon really, really working super hard to get these points back. Now over here, we do have the Skin Wolves kind of pushing into the battle lines, but Rangers and Spearmen fighting them, you know, with some efficiency. Archers being chewed on by the good boys. The Norscan Ice Wolves able to kind of nibble on these guys, and Norscan Ice Wolves are pretty good. In the I wouldn't say recent, but in a patch a while ago, they actually did get a pretty considerable buff. I believe they got a cost reduction, and I think there were some stat buffs that came in tandem with that as well. Not 100% sure. Spearmen on the far side still fighting these Marauder champions, but the fact that Norska is dominating this fight up here and just like, you know, the High Elves aren't really able to kind of push them back, it pretty much seals the deal. And I think Tim the Wilder will be tapping out here very, very soon, as we do see the Archmage of Life get taken down by the Hunter of Champions. And it's always, you know, it's always kind of nice to see Wulfric actually get in there and hunt champions, you know, and do what his entire lore is. Wulfric is basically designed in lore to just, you know, he speaks like every language apparently because the Chaos Gods gave him the gift of tongue. So Wulfric is able to speak any language in the old world, and he does this explicitly for the reason and purpose of talking smack in those languages and baiting people into duels. It's pretty hilarious for sure. All right, guys, there it goes. GG, well played in game 1. The Dragon still got 2,400 value. Must have been a couple good breath attacks. Tim the Wilder, the rest of his army, not bad. I do think there was a window for Tim. I think after that, you know, initial comeback where he killed the Cold Voider and his character was at full health, like maybe if the Dragon character had been a little bit more cautious, maybe. And also, I don't hate mixing in Swordmasters, but Swordmasters are a bit of a liability against Pit of Shades. Swordmasters do dominate Marauder champions pretty well for the cost, but you got to watch out for Pit of Shades. All sorts of cool tech. That's game 1. Let's see what they're going to be doing for the next match as we move on to the Altar of Champions. The winner of this series will move on to the Grand Finals to face the winner of Xiphos and Platypus on the bottom side. Another 2 very, very strong players looking to duel it out. And now we have the Altar of Altar of Champions. Oh God, went down the wrong pipe. Ah, 1 sec. Oh God, I'm too weak, Anakin. All right, guys, I need to grab some more water. Oh, God, I almost just choked on it. Oh, man. I'll be right back. All right, guys, I'm back. Sorry about that. You know, good times. Good times indeed. As we do the picks and bans on this bat. I wonder what we'll see. I wouldn't hate seeing some like Tomb Kings or something. I feel like we don't see them terribly often. They were once a true tyrant of the old world. Should have brought Eltharion. So let's see. What applications would Eltharion the Grim have against the Norskins? It's pretty much nothing. Because, like, the only reason Eltharion has any sort of niche play, in my opinion, is for dealing with flying units like Tempest. But, like, you can bring Larry and get Tempest, too, and she's just exponentially better. Eltharion just needs a buff to his items. Like, if they made the Mistwalker Barrage, like, his AoE ability actually do significant damage, and he's, like, a crowd-clearing, like, armor-piercing threat, then, yeah, he would be super viable. And his items are also mediocre. Like, the Helm of Tor of Rest, the one that gives, like, Unbreakable, is just lame. It's like, yeah, the High Elves already a pretty good leadership. If their leadership's already at that point, it's kind of, like, not going to help them too much. So, yeah. Eltharion, they just need to buff his items, man, and his abilities. Like, high magic isn't, like, insane. I mean, Soul Quench can be okay. Like, you could get down the side of Marauder champions, like, line them up and use Soul Quench and potentially take models out. But overall, it's like, it's a little bit Bronzodia for sure. Yeah, it's a little bit Bronzodia. There's so many, like, weird niche things in Total War Warhammer that are just bad. That are just, like, straight up mediocre, you know? Like, like, at times I'm just like, I would be like, I just want to sit down, go through every single character and just, like, provide, like, suggestions for how they could be improved and fixed in both camp. Well, you know, it also helped their campaign, but yeah, like, how could you make these items better? And, but, like, the thing is, I wouldn't want to do that unless I could get some assurances from Creative Assembly that they would actually apply these changes or would, like, apply something similar, right? Otherwise, it would just be a waste of my time. Because, you know, I've made suggestions in the past and they, you know, don't always get implemented, or usually don't, honestly. But yeah, that would be something. Hey, thank you. Appreciate the kind words. Appreciate the kind words there. Yeah, Tyrion can definitely handle Wulfric. Like, Tyrion will dominate Wulfric in a fight. Because he has armor. Tyrion has good armor piercing. He's got insane combat stats. He's got really high armor, so Wulfric would struggle with his armor. Yeah, Tyrion is one of the best actual, just, like, straight up duelists in the game for his kind of price range. Balthazar Gelt needs something too. Yeah, he needs, like, his staff needs to do something, like, a little bit better. Like, if Balthazar Gelt's staff gave constant Winds of Magic reserves, like, at a really slow rate, that'd be really cool. Like, there's a lot of things that need some love. Maybe I'll just make a video on it and see what we can do. Yeah, I'll, like, go through, like, some characters that don't really get a ton of love. Balthazar Gelt, unfortunately, does, like, literally nothing special. Yeah, it's a bit of a shame. It's a bit of a shame for sure. So, Warriors of Chaos going to be picked. And then Tim the Wilder has Norska and Dark Elves available to him here. So we'll have to see. Okay. What's it going to be? Dark Elves. Okay, Dark Elves versus Warriors of Chaos. Fun matchup. Two bad guys kind of duking it out. And they do fight quite a bit. Dark Elves, of course, are kind of on the more evil spectrum, as we do know. And, I mean, I know Warhammer Fantasy does have that whole kind of, like, gray area thing where, like, even the good guys are, you know, do some, you know, shady stuff. But typically, it's not as much like 40K. Like, I would say that Warhammer Fantasy, at least in my opinion, has, like, some of that Tolkien-esque, like, okay, these are good guys, these are bad guys, right? Kind of thing. Whereas, like, 40K, it's like, you have, like, the Imperium of Man, who definitely is that, like, a little bit more shady. Well, exponentially more shady. Still, arguably, the good guys, right? But, yeah, Warhammer Fantasy, like, yeah, Bretonnia, like, has its certainly has its issues with its society. So does the Empire, but, yeah, it's pretty obvious, like, when you look at them comparatively speaking to, like, factions like Dark Elves and, you know, Chaos Dwarves and stuff, it's pretty obvious that there's a clear distinction between their, you know, their dark sides, you could say. Yeah. Malekith is a hero and rightful king of all the elves, yeah. Bob says, tell them to pick different banners. Oh, yeah, I will. I'll tell them to pick different banners. Pick some different banners. These ones are really close. Do it. All right. So, okay, they picked different banners. Yeah, okay. They're doing it. We got the Blessed Dread versus Valkyria's subfaction. So that's all going to work out. Yeah, everyone in 40K, that's the thing about 40K. I'm actually a huge fan of, like, the Tolkien style where it's like, you know, pretty much every piece of, like, you know, what is this rant I'm about to go on here? Well, if we look at the Marvel, like we had the Infinity Wars kind of saga, right, with Thanos. I thought Thanos was very well done, right? Like obviously he's the villain, but like, and he's a little bit mad. He's a mad Titan, but you know he's got like, you know, there are moments where you kind of like, yeah, like there's some gray area with him. Whereas like in Tolkien, you just have Sauron, and you're like, okay, Sauron's just straight up evil. You know, like sometimes I like the simplicity of just like not having to like get into it too deeply and just having like, you know, like a Sauron versus like, you know, Aragorn type thing, right? Hey, Jay Phoenix, how you doing? Hope you're doing well. Hope you're doing well. But then again, there's shows like Breaking Bad, which are just so good. Breaking Bad, I think, is one of the best shows of all time. Like the fact that like you're rooting for Walter White in that show, you know, you're kind of on his side a little bit, is just a testament to how good of a character he is. It's crazy. It's crazy. I haven't watched Better Call Saul though. Have any of you guys in chat seen that, Better Call Saul? I've heard it's quite good, but I haven't gotten around to watching it yet. So if you guys recommend it, I will. Do you think there will be a Total War Warhammer 40K? Oh, dude, 100%. 100%. I think it's going to happen. All right. Jakob. Hey, Turin, love the content. You think there's a chance that Chaos Dwarfs will get a magma dragon? So I have no idea what a magma dragon is. I haven't really like delved into the Chaos Dwarf stuff, like lore-wise. But Genkuya Bardzo, firstly, my friend. And secondly, I mean, I have no idea, dude. I didn't even know that was like a unit in Warhammer Fantasy. Better Call Saul is great. It's really good. Yeah, okay, I'll have to check it out. You liked it more than Breaking Bad. Wow, that's intense. Okay. My 82-year-old grandma watches it, so like, you know, I'm gonna have to take her word for it as well. I'm gonna have to check that out. It gets better in the later seasons. Okay, sounds good. No, yeah, we're gonna get Total War Warhammer 40K is gonna happen. I think. Like if I had to say like what are the odds that we get Total War Warhammer 40K compared to like Warhammer Age of Sigmar or Total War Warhammer Age of Sigmar, I think it would be 80-20. I think like 90-10 even. Like we're going to get Total War Warhammer 40K. Like why would they not do it? It's such an easy, safe, like branded thing, right? Like Total War Warhammer 40K in general has a huge audience, and it has pretty substantial mainstream appeal actually. And clearly, you know, Creative Assembly, despite, you know, some issues here and there, has done an excellent job with Total War Warhammer. It's a great game. Do you know how many hours? Like, people will, like, buy games, you know, and play them for, like, you know, these single-player games and, you know, spend $60, $70 and play them for, you know, a handful of hours. Just think of all the hours you put into this game. And sure, you might burn out, content droughts and whatnot, and bugs and things that certainly shouldn't be there and need to be fixed, but yeah, generally, I think they would do a great job with Total War Warhammer 40K because they could just use this game as kind of a template, you know, especially as it pertains to multiplayer. You just do domination because tabletop 40K is an objective game, and it would totally make sense that, and even more sense actually, that in a dystopian sci-fi future with limited resources and you know, these powerful artifacts and things like that, fighting over objectives and resource caches in the, you know, in 40K is very, very important, right? And that's how it is in tabletop as well. Yeah. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. Too bad Darktide was a bust. Yeah, I heard bad things about Darktide. Granted, I don't really like those kind of like button mashing, you know, shooter type games, but what's really cool about like Vermintide, Darktide type games is like the aesthetic and like the ambient environments they create. It's really, really cool. Do you have any insight on why there were 0 balance changes last patch? Last patch? You mean like the one that they're putting out right now, or? Not sure. What new Total War will CA announce this year? 40K or historical? Okay, so here's my conspiracy theory. I do not think that we're going to get 40K announced until another historical game has been out for a while. You know, because there still is a massive portion of the Total War community who is really into history. I mean, that's really the foundation and roots of Total War. So I think that Creative Assembly is going to just come in like a wrecking ball with like a huge historical announcement. My guess would be Medieval 3. And then they're gonna do Medieval 3, and then after that, like, kind of settles for a while, and they'll support this game up until like 2025, I would suspect, like another like This year and next year, that we'll be getting content for this game. And then when that dries up and they're like, okay, you know, it's completed, great times, they're going to have like a teaser for 40K and everyone's just going to go bananas. That's good. That is my conspiracy theory. I'd be willing to put some money on some of those things. I legitimately think we're going to get a Medieval 3 at some point. Like, I would say, like, after this. And then we get 40K. That's 100% my conspiracy. Yeah. Just tinfoil hat, straight up. All right, guys. Tim the Wilder here in this match. Going to be coming in with the Witch King. Looks like Soul Stealers backed up by a bunch of Blackheart Corsair handbows. Really, really good unit. They can drag down Marauders, and they can also shoot at monsters. Although, man, look at this. Houseplan is just so, like, it's like, yeah, he even brings the Armored Trolls against the handbows, because Armored Trolls with their high armor can mitigate that firepower. We got some Dread Spears, Dark Rider Repeater Crossbows, Dark Shards in the back, and the Witch King. Now, on the other side as well, it is going to be Chaos Warriors. Chaos Warriors, some of the best infantry in the entire game. Their damage output in tandem with their defensive capabilities is just nuts. Chaos Warriors, I mean, Chaos is pretty limited in terms of like what it has at range. So Chaos should have some of the best infantry units in the game for sure. So we got a couple of those guys backed up by Chaos Trolls. We got Archaon the Ever-Chosen. Archaon is an absolute raid boss. And I cannot tell you how many times I've had my butt kicked by Archaon lately. He is... if he gets his paws on you, man, especially if he's got Slayer of Kings active, he will do work. Spirit Leech and Burning Head, a beautiful combo of spells. Burning Head is really, really good against elves in general, like the Dark Shards, Dread Spears, whatever. And Spirit Leech is obviously good at finishing off a character like Malekith, who might be able to kind of get away from you here. So Chaos Trolls and Chaos Warriors going over to Objective 3, going to be grabbing that point, and the Warriors of Chaos going to be moving up and pressing Objective 1 as well. The Dark Elves taking a little bit more of a defensive posture, as we do see Malekith up in the sky, looking to maybe drop some breath attacks. We'll have to see. Here in the back, we do get the Dark Rider Repeater Crossbows teeing off into the Chaos Warriors, and they are Silver Shielded, not going to be taking a ton of damage, but it's still not like a terrible thing to do here. I think that they're going to be able to get some work in there. Malekith lurking in the skies, Archaon mirroring him, so Archaon just going to be following under his shadow. Breath attack going down to the Chaos Warriors, and looks like Houseplant does notice it at the last second, but even still, the breath attack does some really substantial damage. So yeah, typically if you want to really be a dragon enjoyer, somebody who's like quite good with dragon characters, you need to be very, very good at making sure that like all three of those breath attacks are on point. You know, I've felt this for a long time. I feel as if Archaon is so like, if Be'lakor didn't get so much like time in the sun in the beginning of the game, I feel as if Archaon would just be the go-to. Like he is just unholy to take down. He's got a huge HP pool, crazy stats, high armor, great spells, pretty decent items honestly as well, with the Crown of Domination giving ITP to nearby units and also making him cause terror. So yeah, he's no joke, dude. He's definitely no joke. So Archaon going to be lurking about. Looks like Malekith going to be planning another breath attack. And Tim the Wilder just using his ranged assets to wear down this army a little bit before he goes in. And this is Tim. You know, Tim was actually one of the first innovators of the Mordor strategy of just like sitting back and accruing value for like a good 5 to 10 minutes before going for the objectives, and then just triple capping you. Dark Riders, not sure where they're going. Okay, they literally go right into the face of those Chaos Warriors and are going to be ripping shots into Archaon, as we do see the dragon moving in. So Tim using those bows to screen out the Ever-Chosen. But now the Ever-Chosen's going to be getting in there and getting a nice attack on Malekith. The Witch King is going to be forced back, and he takes some pretty substantial damage as well. And dude, look at this. God, Archaon is so consistent with his attacks too. Like, look at Malekith just getting smashed by this man. He does not miss. And Slayer of Kings was popped, so we had 800 plus weapon strength. Looks like a Soul Stealer going down from Tim the Wilder, going to be hitting those Chaos Warriors. But really, it's just being used as a bit of a desperation heal at this point. We do see Archaon take a couple Dark Shard shots to the face. On the far side objective, no bow shooting here. Having a unit of Dark Shards like move up like so, just come right here and just rip shots into these Chaos Warriors and Trolls, I think would be very strong. But Dark Elves are slowly kind of posturing for this middle objective. A lot of firepower coming out for the Dark Elves here as they continue wearing into the Chaos Warriors. These the Chaos Warriors also getting a little bit beat up as well. Value trading is dead even, but the value trading is all on Malekith for the Forces of Chaos, right? And thankfully they did change banner, so it's going to be a little bit easier to tell. Shout out to Bob in chat for that suggestion. Here, Blackheart Corsair handbows shooting into the bows now, or into the Shielded Warriors. Shielded Warriors do not give any shits about this. They have silver shields, high armor values. Corsair handbows have really, really low armor piercing values, and of course, most of their damage will be mitigated by the shields, and then of course the armor will take care of whatever else gets through. So Corsairs moving in, and now some basic Dark Shards. So good play there by Tim the Wilder. He smells the blood in the water and is going to be going for that. In the backfield, Dark Shards continue to just hammer into these Chaos Warriors, and 2 units of Chaos Warriors are getting put in the can a little bit, so Dark Elves are being allowed to just kind of sit and shoot. However, remember these guys do have the silver shields. They're going to be laughing all the way to the bank, although I remember the days of the ye-old land battles when yeah, because ammunition is factored into the balance of power, so like right now you might even see the balance of power start to shift a little bit. Breath attack coming in as well. Doesn't do that much damage. Houseplant was on the move there. And hey, Venrel, thanks for becoming a member. Welcome to the Dukes of Haggard. Greatly appreciate you, my friend, and hopefully you're enjoying this hot action. Now, it looks like a Burning Head from Archeon. Beautiful cast right there. Is able to take down those Dark Shards, and the Corsair Handbow is going to be forced to fight these trolls in melee, as the Witch King does land in combat and is going to be attacking some of the Chaos Warriors. And yeah, it'll be quite good against them. Malekith, of course, on Seraphon here does have really, really good armor-piercing values. I think his dragon, I think that of all the dragons in the game, Forest Dragons are probably my favorite looking, followed up by the Black Dragon and the Dark Elves. I think they're so incredibly badass. Now, trying to snipe Archeon a little bit, but he's pretty swift. Archeon has 94 speed. How insane is that? Like, he legitimately will outrun, like, just most mounted characters. 94 speed on that Chaos Horse. I mean, he is riding, like, a legendary demonic horse, so it would make sense. Dark Shards and Corsair Handbow is doing really good work, actually. The Chaos Armored Trolls do get dragged down a little bit. I have to admit, it's really weird watching a game without Hellstriders. Okay, there they are. The Hellstriders to Slaanesh are coming in. This is a very, very competitive match, right? So you guys are seeing the, going to be seeing the sweat for sure. Here, look at this. The Witch King getting in and dueling Archeon with a Soul Stealer. You know, the Dark Elves using the treacherous tactics, a little bit of a backstab ambush there. And Archeon probably does not have Slayer of Kings. Oh, he does have Slayer of Kings. And look at this. We get Velociraptor Cav coming in as well. Coldwind Knights. Archeon actually getting beat up a little bit by the Witch King. And it looks like Archeon is going to be chased back as the Dark Elves do sound the horn, and the Corsair is going to be moving into combat now as well against these Chaos Warriors. Chaos Warrior Great Weapons will dominate Corsairs pretty badly, but it looks like they're trying to pile through and fight something else. Burning Head was very good. It actually went down the line and was able to move into some of the Dread Spears and tank their leadership. So these Chaos Infantry are doing some serious work. What the hell is this? Is this a Chosen unit? Oh my god, he brought Chaos Chosen. You almost never get to see those guys. Hey, Grail, thank you for becoming a member. I don't know how to pronounce your name. If you could let me know phonetically in chat, that'd be greatly appreciated. Thank you for becoming a member, my friend, and welcome to the Dukes of Haggard. As the Chosen, Houseplant doesn't meme, so I think there's definitely some strategy with this. He, in my experience, is not a meme player. Now over here, we do see your boy Archeon, the Ever-Chosen, going to be lurking, looking for some prey, but he's quite beat up right now. And the Witch King, of course, doing very, very well. Tim the Wilder pulling up in value, 25 to 3,000, so he's got about a 1,500 value lead. More like a 2,000 value lead considering the healing on Malekith. Nice Burning Head, another great Burning Head here, going to be taking down some of the archer units. Hellstriders, I mean, don't really have too many good targets, to be honest. I mean, there are some Coldwind Knights that were on the battlefield, and they're still kind of lurking back here, but the Hellstriders, like I said, if they don't find large targets to fight, they're really, really not that good. Well, I mean, they're still very good, but they're not as OP as they generally are. So the Chosen in the backfield, still kind of running about, being shot in the back, which is not what they want. Dark Shards will wreck Chosen pretty badly, especially if they're shooting them in the back here. And the Chosen will be hunting them down. As you can see, Tim the Wilder going to be trying to grab that objective once again. Modest, thank you for the donation. What faction are you likely to main in Total War Warhammer 40k? Death Guard. Yeah, Death Guard, 100%. I would probably play Death Guard and then Imperial Guard, Astra Militarum. I like regular humans, like fighting against big scary shit, and I also like the Nurgle human aesthetic. So Death Guard is what I collect in tabletop, so I would probably play them. And Black Legion, I'd probably play Black Legion with like Abaddon, that'd be a lot of fun. All right, Archeon the Ever-Chosen, holding down the point, and it looks like the value's being pulled back by Houseplant a little bit, but the Dark Elves are starting to get a little bit of momentum here. A lot of their handbows are having to fight in melee. Certainly probably doesn't feel great for them. Hellstriders in the backfield causing some disruption, and Hellstriders are still, you know, even if they're not fighting large targets, with 100 speed, they are very, very good at hunting down archer type units. So here, these Dark Shards going to get surrounded and enveloped here by the Hellstriders, and more Spears and Corsairs are on their way out. Looking on the side objective here, we have a combination of Corsairs and Corsair Handbows moving up. So the side objective will be taken by Tim the Wilder. So Tim the Wilder doing his classic Mordor approach. Going for that, you know, value trading and then going for the late game triple cap. Granted, I don't think it's going to be easy because despite all the missiles and poking, Houseplant has done a very, very good job of maintaining an equal value trade just through good micro and good decision making, right? So we see a Soul Stealer going down here. Was he just casting a Soul Stealer on the ground? Breath attack onto the back of the Chaos Warriors. Spears getting some decent cap weight here, but still a ton of Marauders. Marauders, very, very cost-effective infantry. And we do have the Great Weapons over here also cutting through the Handbows. These Chaos Warrior Grey Weapons, if there's no Dark Shards to deal with them, they're just going to be crushing through most of these Dark Elf infantry. We don't see any Harganeth Executioners. You know, interestingly enough, if the Dark Elves had gone elite infantry this game, like Blackguard or Harganeth Executioners or those type of units, they would have probably won this battle pretty decisively because the Chaos player didn't bring any Pit of Shades type abilities, right? So the elite infantry would have just butchered most of the Chaos troops. Harganeth Executioners are no joke. Those guys do some serious, serious damage. So objective 1 is flipping for the forces of the Dark Elves very slowly, and it looks like Chaos is going to be sending in some tattered Chaos Warriors, more Hellstriders coming out. On the back objective, we do have some really, really beat up units here. These Blackheart Corsairs trying to grab this point. But hey, every morsel of capture weight does count, right? Harpy's on their way over, and this side point should be going to the forces of the Dark Elves here in a minute. But he's really running out of time. Corsair Handbow's moving up. He needs to grab these guys and move them onto the point to get the capture weight. Because right now, you know, he's basically sacrificing 5 capture weight. If they were just up on the point, that this objective might have actually flipped by now as well. Middle objective, hotly contested. The Slanesh units do have immune to psychology, so Malekith is not going to be able to kind of terror out those off. A huge Soul Stealer right here would be very nice. Man, if there was like another minute in this game, another like 2 minutes, maybe the Dark Elves would be able to get it. Maybe. Like they have units going to the back point. The middle objective will eventually flip for them. We see multiple units coming on. Archeon, of course, on the hunt. Side objective has flipped. But guys, there's only 15 seconds left. So Tim just took a little bit too long to kind of get up onto those points. But in the end, it is going to be a victory for the Warriors of Chaos as their durable infantry and the Ever-Chosen are able to kind of, you know, work as damage sponges, basically, and absorb the wrath of the Dark Elves. But one of the reasons why, obviously, is because he was able to keep it a relatively even value trade. Despite being outranged and being kind of more static on the objectives, he was able to do his thing as well. All right. Thoughts on Malekith's portrait above his character looking like he's wearing a golden... Yeah, okay, a golden sombrero. Interesting. It kind of does. When you see it, you can't unsee it. Yeah, that's pretty funny. That's pretty funny. GG, well played, guys. Taking a look at the breakdown. Malekith was great. Corsair Handbows are usually pretty cost-effective. Dark Shards did good, too. A couple of them didn't do bad at all. I thought Tim the Wilder played a good game. If he could have just executed his counter push a little bit earlier, and if Tim could have gotten like one of the 3 objectives, like 2 or 3 minutes prior, I think he wins the game. He just needed to kind of stop the bleeding a little bit earlier on at least one point. Like maybe more effort on that side point to get that. And I think Tim wins it. GG, well played. Houseplant's going to be advancing on to the grand finals with a 2-0 victory over his clanmate Tim the Wilder. Well played to Tim. It was a great game. And now, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to be setting up the next match here. So let's do it to it. Archeon's value, I'm sure we want to see this. About 2,000. So nothing too crazy. So here we go. Let's get the next lobby all set up right there and invite the players. Okay. And here we go. Xiphos and Platypus. Get in here. And let's get the nameplates all set up. Thank you guys for joining today. Thank you to the new channel members and all of you guys for your support. Really appreciate it. It's going to be a really fun week, man. It's going to be a really fun week. We're going to have Total War tournaments, Age of Empires streams. On Thursday, we're going to do Company of Heroes. And on Friday, we're probably going to do Blood Bowl. So it's going to be a crazy week. It's going to be a wild week for sure. A wild week indeed. We'll be starting a Blood Bowl league in our Discord as well. As soon as the new Blood Bowl game launches, we're going to be starting a league. So that will be pretty great. All right. Looks like the dreaded Platypus is here. Platypus always a fun player to watch, and if you guys haven't seen his YouTube channel, he does some really, really good stuff. He does guides and all sorts of neat content. All right, let's switch it on back. And here we are. The menacing Platypus versus the mighty champion of ODM, Xiphos. Xiphos, apparently very rusty, hasn't played competitive in a month or two since the conclusion of this league, but never count him out. He is a serious veteran of the Total War franchise and has some of the best micro that you'll see out there. So I just hope we get some Wood Elves. That's kind of what I'm here for. Badger, thank you for the 20. The dreaded Badger Knight. Thank you for that donation, my friend. And we are going to be on It's a Me. Should have cast me to play Mario in the movie instead of Chris Pratt. All right. Any plans for more domination tournaments? Yes. We recorded the replays on Friday for a 2v2 tournament, which is what we're going to be casting on Monday or Tuesday. The Grand Alliances format. Yeah. I wish Company of Heroes and Blood Bowl could like split up their release. I wish they could just like have them be like a week apart or something. Yeah. It had to be on the same day. It had to be on the same day. Okay, so we're on Itza, and do we have Bretonnia versus Demons of Chaos? Let me see if they've actually done their picks and bans. Okay, so checking it out here, seeing if the players have done it. I think they're still working on it right now. Let's see. Yeah, they're doing their picks and bans, so we do not have the official matchup yet. New Blood Bowl comes out next Thursday, yeah. Comes out next Thursday. Turin, if CA made a historical game with an IE-style map of the entire globe, which era would you think? Antiquity, medieval era, early modern era? Oh man, I don't know. I love medieval, like the medieval times. Yeah, I think that would be really fun. So maybe like medieval. Yeah, antiquity is pretty awesome too as well. But yeah, I think medieval would be a lot of fun. Yeah, I'll definitely focus more on Company of Heroes at first because I had so much fun playing that game. It's actually quite good. Granted, I don't have any anecdotal references to the second game. I never played Company of Heroes 1 or 2. So, you know, I'm sure a lot of people will come in and be like, oh, it's not as good as 2 or 1 or whatever. But, like, I have no previous experience. So, for me, it's just like a fresh start. You've got 2 monitors. We could dual stream. We could. Although Blood Bowl is... yeah, it's not. You still need to. There's a timer on the turn, so you would have to like be playing somewhat quickly. I hope we see Wood Elves today. That's what I really, really want to see. Yeah, I would love to see medieval. That'd be really fun. Do you guys think that Total War will ever delve into like more modern warfare? Not even modern, but like let's say like World War I era. You know, World War II, like that, those type of time periods. I don't really see them doing World War II. I don't think that would happen, but you know, it'd be interesting to see them do like something on that, like how it would be executed. I mean, clearly we see them. You know, gun units do exist in Total War Warhammer, right? So we have tanks as well. I mean, a steam tank is legitimately just a tank. They would have to change the way they probably interact and whatnot. So the Wild Platypus says, "I also hope Zyphos picks Wood Elves." Oh man, that's funny. Of course you do, because you want the what are you looking for? The easy W there? You don't think so? 19th century maybe? Yeah. I think they will do a game engine rebuild for Total War Warhammer 40k. Yeah. Company of Heroes are already doing that. Yeah, that's true. There'll definitely be a 40k though. That's gonna happen. It's only a matter of time. It's only a matter of time. I think like the ultimate boner though would be them doing Lord of the Rings. Like I know Lord of the Rings is pretty similar to you know Total War Warhammer in some ways. Like you know they have similar fantasy tropes, dwarves, elves, you know humans and whatnot. But like I just think the narrative of like an open world like Total War Lord of the Rings game would just be so much fun. It would be so much fun. Oh my god. Who would I main if we got Total War Warhammer, or if we got Total War Lord of the Rings? I'd probably main Gondor, to be honest. Yeah, I'd probably be a Gondor main. It would just be so awesome. Like using the Rangers of Ithilien and the Rangers of Gondor, like teamed up with the soldiers of Minas Tirith. You got Boromir as your legendary lord. You got Faramir as a legendary lord. Gandalf could be like Gotrek and Felix, in which you could like add him to any of the good factions. Oh my god. Your life depends on it. Which 40k character are you backing in a 1v1 dueling contest? Oh man, I mean that's kind of like... Yeah, I mean, because like the thing is in 40k, like there needs to be some scope on that question, because there's like these like huge entities, like just giant Tyranid space, like planet-sized Tyranid monsters, right? So are we talking about just like human characters, or give me some nuances as well? Daryl, love the content. Just wanted to show some love. Papa Nurgle protects all day, every day. Thank you so much. I would just recreate the Rohirrim charge over and over. The Shire mains rise up. The Shire sheriffs. Well, you can play the Shire in the tabletop game. So I'm almost done painting my Rangers of Ithilien army in tabletop. Almost done with it. But so there's a Lord of the Rings tabletop game which I play. I'm starting to play. I'm learning it right now. But the Shire is a playable faction. Let me show you guys. It's really haggard. Okay. So here we go. While the players are doing their picks and bans, we can mess around and have some fun. All right. So these are the factions of good you can choose. The Shire is right here. Here you go. So you have Hobbit Militia. You have the Scouring of the Shire, which obviously isn't in the movies, really. But yeah, you can see here Saruman and Grima in the Scouring. The Shire Battle Company, so it's just like, yeah, Hobbit Archers. You can get Farmer. You can actually get the Farmer, which is hilarious, and he comes with his dogs and everything. Yeah, so you can basically mix any of the Fellowship characters into the Shire, like. So like you have like Frodo, Sam, and Merry and Pippin. You can like add them all in, but they are a playable faction. You can play them. It's pretty ridiculous. Yeah, the guys I play the Rangers of Ithilien, so most of my army is just Rangers mixed in with Faramir and a couple other characters. So yeah, there's some pretty memey factions. Like if you go to the Hobbit as well, you can go to the Hobbit and you can play them against each other. They have the Army of Lake Town, which is pretty hilarious. So you can get the Paymaster, yeah, Alfred. You get Bard the Bowman, the dude who takes down Smaug. Yeah, it's pretty funny. They're based on the movies. So Lord of the Rings dwarves have spears. What I know. Imagine how much more effective Warhammer dwarves would be if they just were willing to use spears. Like the reach they would get. Because dwarves are like already so stalwart, right? And tough and strong. The issue is reach, right? They're using axes, which don't have great reach. If dwarves learned how to use like spears and halberds, oh my god. They would just conquer. Yeah, Lord of the Rings, show the Gondor models? Sure, why not? Yeah, we can look at those right now. We got a little bit of time. The Gondor models are great. All right, so let me go to Minas Tirith, and here we are, and cool. So this is like the starter box you can get. For Minas Tirith. It comes with Gandalf, like both mounted and on foot. And then you have like the Minas Tirith, like knights and whatnot, troops, some archers. They're pretty cool. This is a starter box that I think is really, really rad if you're looking to get into it. If you have some pals who want to go half and half. But this is the leader of my army. So I use Faramir. Here's Faramir here, and it comes with like the other ranger captains as well. These guys are so cool. So my entire army's rangers. There's a special army in tabletop, which is the Rangers of Ithilien, which is what I run. You can see here some of them right here. Yeah, the models are old, but they're still pretty awesome. They definitely hold up well. Yeah, there's the Rangers right there. The Boromir model's pretty haggard, but it could be worse. I do not know what's going on with Aragorn's head right here. This is like, I wanted to get this model because I think it's such a cool representation, like that character, but like its face, look how awful this guy's face is. He kind of looks like somewhere, like he's got some caveman action going on. Like this guy looks like he's a couple thousand years behind in terms of evolution. Yeah, the King Elisar, yeah. Aragorn of the Black Gate. Rohan is really cool too. Rohan's got some great models, but we should probably make sure I'm not like missing the action here in the game as we get a little bit too hard into the Lord of the Rings action. Hey, Duck says, I'm interested in the Blood Bowl League, but I don't see a sign. So the signups haven't gone up yet in the Discord. I need to see what capabilities the game has first before we do that. So I think we have a Dark Elf versus High Elf battle. Zyphos going to be on High Elves and Platypus on Dark Elves. Okay, that's kind of interesting. It's kind of interesting. Yeah, the Witch King is really good. He's actually one of the best heroes in the entire game, in the Lord of the Rings tabletop game. He's really, really strong, apparently. I don't know what's going on with his face there. I have no idea. That forehead is... Yeah. Boromir is haggard, but is good for the army. A cheaper... Yeah, Boromir is one of the best characters in the game, too, I've heard. No, those models are for a game. Games Workshop makes a Lord of the Rings game. Yeah. It's quite cool, too. Apparently the rules are really... I'm just learning right now, so I can't speak to it too much, but I've watched a couple games be played, and I'm currently building my army, so... Aragorn looks like a guy caveman. Yeah, some of the models are old. A lot of them came out like 2005 to 2010 range. But some of them are new. Like Faramir is new, and all the Osgiliath like heroes are new. Gothmog, the Witch King is new. They have a new Witch King model, so yeah. I'm just getting into the Lord of the Rings tabletop. I'm going to be playing on Wednesday. Yeah, learning all the rules and everything. All right, guys. It is time. The Witch King versus the dreaded princess. Zyphos bringing out his princess here. Going to be looking to get some bow action. Shoot Malekith out of the skies. We'll have to see how that unfolds. Ah, yes, and the dreaded desync. Gotta love Total War multiplayer. You gotta love it. All right, so we just reload. The thing is, they only desync once. It's just some haggard shit, man. God, I really wish GA would just put a little bit of effort into multiplayer. Just a little bit, dude. It could be so great, you know? You know, if you need screens. Okay, so players are on their way back in. And the map is going to be Itza. Should be able to reload pretty quickly. Yeah, there's just like when some connections. Xiphos is in France, and I think Platypus is like central US. Yeah, Carl Urban he's great in Lord of the Rings. Also very good in Dread, yeah. I agree 100%. Carl Urban's probably one of my favorite actors, yeah. He's great. All right, so Xiphos is back in. All right, let's switch it up. Looking good. You just tried to skip ahead in the video? Yeah, not going to be possible yet, my friend. All right, so they'll get their armies back, and we should be ready in a minute. And I'm going to see if any of them need screenshots. Well, looks like they're good, so they probably saved their builds. Oh my god. The Witch King Total War campaign, it'd be cool, man. I would be really interested to see how they would like implement a Fellowship campaign. So like you're recreating the Mount Doom bit, right? So you start as the Fellowship and you have like quests. The first quest is to, you know, you start off with Gandalf and you know, Frodo and Sam and then, you know, Gandalf comes back to you later or whatever, right? And then you have to like sneak with the hobbits. I don't really know how you do that. Yeah, that'd be interesting. So you have to go to the Prancing Pony and Bree, and then you have to go to eventually Rivendell. Could be very interesting. I don't know. I wonder how they would do a Fellowship campaign. Oh, Lord of the Rings would be huge. I don't know. The license is probably one of the more obstructive bits, right? Like getting that license. Yeah, that would probably be very, very costly. All right, guys. Princess versus Malekith round 2. Loading in. Let's see if the gods of Total War will grant us a multiplayer game today. They will. They've taken mercy on us. So, ladies and gentlemen, it is going to be Xiphos, mighty ODM champion, the Lord of France, coming in with the White Lines of Crace. White Lines of Crace, very good against Dark Elves. They dominate most Dark Elf infantry in melee, except the elite ones, which normally Dark Elves won't bring. So if you're looking at Corsairs, Bleak Swords, Dread Spears, White Lines of Crace do well against them, and they also do pretty good against Cav. On top of that, we do have archers, double archers, just 2 of them, just to put a little bit of poke at range, and you know, you'll be able to shoot at chariots. Princess is going to be here, and you don't see the Princess often. So it has Volley of High Arrows, which has really good armor piercing, actually. And, of course, Breath Attacks. We got a Mage of Life with Earthblood and Dwellers Below, and that appears to be it. Now, looking here at the Menacing Platypus, not only is he a platypus, but he's also menacing. It is going to be him with Bleak Swords in the front, just chaff. We got the Scourge on our chariots. I think if Xiphos had come with a couple bolt throwers, that could have been very nasty for sure. Like on this map, like plopping down a couple bolt throwers like right here, and just having them like shoot on the middle 2 objectives and take down those bad boys could be quite good. So in the back we have Reaper bolt throwers, Scourge Runner chariots, be able to shoot anything that's big and also run over infantry if need be. Don't really need to explain why Malekith is so good. He's an excellent fighter. He's got Soul Stealer to heal himself for 12% of his total HP. He's got Breath Attacks. He's very, very good. And Bleak Swords, that's pretty much it. Somebody in chat asking, has the Shire actually gone to war? So at the end of the Lord of the Rings trilogy, and I'm not talking about the movies, in the books, Saruman doesn't die like he does in the extended edition of the Two Towers. He actually escapes Orthanc and Isengard, and Saruman goes to the Shire while everybody is at the Black Gates and dealing with Sauron, and Saruman actually enslaves the Shire. And that's called the Scouring of the Shire in the books. You can look it up, and I don't want to, in case you maybe don't know about it, I won't spoil anything, but there is obviously one final kind of conflict there, and yeah. So, I mean, yes, because they have to fight off Saruman. So that's what's going down there. All right, guys, the battle is on. Elves versus elves. We immediately see some Blackheart Corsairs summoned out. Blackheart Corsairs are swift, most likely going to be going up to the high ground objective. Xiphos may be sending some White Lines of Grace up here. Kind of looks like he's posturing. And White Lines of Grace are a great independent unit, although a little bit vulnerable against like some, you know, cab pieces like repeater crossbows and those type of units. Yeah. Yeah, so some people in chat are talking about that as well. No, so the Scouring of the Shire, you don't actually see that in the movies, except in one moment when the characters are looking in the Palantir and they're seeing like the horrific visions of the future. You can see the hobbits in the Shire being like marched in chains, and it is represented in the movies in that regard. But it's a very very brief scene, I suppose. So the princess is going to be juking back and forth, and we do see the Scourge Runner chariots getting some pretty good work on the princess, so most likely going to pull back here, as archers of Xiphos will move up. And archers, will do a little damage against Scourge Runners. Scourge Runners do have 80 armor, so it's not like amazing. But the high ground objective looks like it's going to be taken by the High Elves, and Objective 2 and Objective 3, the central objectives and the far east objective, look like they're going to be in the hands of the Witch King here. I always like myself a good High Elf, Dark Elf battle. I feel like it's so thematic and it's so fun as well. So Bleak Sword's up in the point. Very, very conservative play from Xiphos so far, not wanting to move up into the Scourge Runner chariots. Good juking, though, as the Mage of Life kind of bounces back and forth. Princess just sitting there, shooting her bow into the Scourge Runners, but she tends to take a lot of damage. Platypus has been doing a good job, just kind of like every time the Princess comes up, her range isn't like insane. 180 isn't bad, but the Scourge Runners have 150, so they can close the distance on her pretty quickly. Archer shooting in and getting a little bit of damage into the Scourge Runners, and oh, those are Sisters of Avalorn, yeah. That's what we're talking about. Sisters of Avalorn are a great counter against Scourge Runners, in theory. Assuming you can protect them. But yeah, they are able to force those back. Xiphos going to be moving up on the objectives here. So he does take Objective 1, and Platypus has yet to move up on the points in heavy numbers. He does send some Bleak Swords up, but Xiphos should have a slight capture weight advantage if he's able to get that Mage of Life on the objective as well. And Objective 3 is going to be going to the forces of the Dark Elves. So the Platypus is sinking its Platypus talons. Do Platypuses have like talons, or like what kind of claws do they have? I can't really like visualize the creature. But White Lines versus Bleak Swords. Obviously, White Lines of Krace will dominate this fight pretty decisively, but if Malekith's going to be dropping some fat magic and or breath attacks here, nice breath attack there by Platy. That was really good. Now, White Lines of Krace will probably still win that fight, but if Malekith does land in there, it will turn the tide of that battle. Sisters of Avalorn in the back being shot by the Bolt Thrower. So Platypus using double Bolt Thrower, and he has them in Spray Fire mode, which means they're going to be a little bit more effective against like bunches of infantry. And those Sisters of Avalorn, yeah, they're actually taking a considerable amount of damage as they do turn about face. Scourge Runner chariots running into the archers in the back, and I would wager Xiphos is going to be summoning out some calves, so we get Reavers coming out, and another unit of Reavers, which should take an angle of pursuit much like this to try and shut that down. Malekith also jumping in and going after the Mage of Life. So it seems like Platypus is getting the slightly better engagements here. This Mage of Life, of course, getting hammered by the Witch King is quite painful. Looks like there's going to be some heals going down in Earthblood as the Reaver Cab do push out from the backfield to try and stabilize the remnants of the Sisters of Avalorn, who are rocking 69 models, baby. That's what she said. Now, middle objective currently being held by the Dark Elves, so it looks like they were able to flip that. The White Lines of Krace did just get overwhelmed. The Breath Attack was able to do some really, really nasty stuff there. And here comes more Cav. Reavers charging into Blackheart Corsairs, and the Princess on her dragon attacking these Corsairs up in the high ground as the White Lines of Krace will saturate in to try and salvage those Lothern Seaguard. Overall, value trading is going to be favoring the Dark Elves for now, but Dark Elves don't really have as much healing. Granted, Malekith does heal quite a bit, so it's not like they're without healing as well. That can kind of, mess up the estimation of the value. Reavers battling against Bleak Swords. Should be a pretty good fight for the Reavers, assuming they cycle charge and don't stay in sustained combat for too long against those guys. Up in the high ground here, we do see the Corsairs getting wrecked, so the White Lines of Krace plus the Princess able to get the W there. But overall, Malekith the Witch King causing problems. Gaze of Malice going down. Looks like that was a bit of a misclick there from Platypus as he did cast it the wrong direction. Side objective is actually being contested a little bit, but looks like these guys are going to be pushed off. So the White Lines of Krace will most likely lose this fight to the very tattered Bleak Swords. But yeah, they were also very beat up themselves. I actually think that White Lions are one of the coolest units in the game. Like, I'm normally not a huge fan of like elves outside of the Wood Elves, but there's something about White Lines of Krace just having this like big axe and then like the lion's pelt cloaks. It's just it's a very, very cool aesthetic. Now, Xiphos coming in with the Dragon Princes, and they will be pretty effective at running down Corsair-type infantry. Of course, they don't have the best armor piercing, but their charge bonus of 80 is very, very serious. So here they come. They're going to be getting in there and certainly punting a lot of these guys into the Shadow Realm as the Witch King causes more havoc in the middle. Looks like the Princess sitting up in the sky, just putting shots into Malekith. Will the Dragon Princes get the job done here? These two units, pretty okay on leadership, actually, 34 and 47 right now. Malekith actually getting a little bit damaged, but it looks like the Princess was sitting on her dragon and just kind of taking pot shots at Malekith the entire time. As now we get Dragon Princes running into battle Witch Elves, which is a little bit precarious. Yes, they'll dominate Witch Elves, but they'll get rampaged, and they'll also maybe get dragged down by multiple infantry units. And Dragon Princes actually have okay sustained combat stats. That's what's really cool about them. Like, with a lot of factions, you kind of have to choose, like, okay, this is a shock cav unit, which has a high charge bonus, but bad combat stats. Or this is, you know, a sustained combat cavalry, like a Chaos Knight with Sword and Shield, or like a Questing Knight or something like that. But the High Elves kind of get a 2-for-1. Dragon Princes are good in sustained combat and also very good on the charge. But here they just get melted by Malekith and just sustained pressure. And the Scourge Runner Chariots were shooting them as well. Also, Xiphos is going to be losing the Mage of Life, so I think this could be the end of the road for our boy Xiphos. I think he's in some serious danger. He's probably too far behind. Losing the Mage of Life kind of takes away one of his comeback mechanics here, and pretty much every objective is soon going to be under the control of the Witch King here, as the Princess not quite able to have the presence that Malekith has on the battlefield. It's trying its best, but it's just simply not able to get there. And overall, you know, having the Mage sniped and the Dragon Princes killed, the Bolt Throwers were also a huge advantage. Like, the Bolt Throwers were an excellent pick. They shut down the elite archers that Xiphos brought in with the spray fire mode, and then they also helped hard counter the Dragon Princes. They put constant pressure on the Princess here. I can't help but think if Xiphos had like 2 or 3 Bolt Throwers of his own, this game could have gone much better for him. But again, it's easy to say that in hindsight based on, you know, what people brought. It's very easy to kind of give that perspective. Top ground objective being held by Xiphos, currently 5.7 to 9.3. He's still fighting. Still scrapping here. He's got the fighter spirit, and he is going to be grinding through these Corsairs slowly but surely. Dragon Prince is still very much alive. We do have Lothern Seaguard coming out, basic archers as well. In the backfield, a couple tattered archers, but overall, the Druki are now going for a triple cap. So we see the Menacing Platypus moving up to the high ground objective, and he's got the repeater crossbows back here, so 1 and 2, putting excellent Overwatch fire, classic Dark Elf stuff. And yeah, Lothern Seaguard and Elven archers can counter the repeater crossbows, but if the archers get shut down by Malekith and or other ranged assets, the repeater crossbows will pretty much dominate most of the High Elf roster. And we see the Scourge Runner Chariots getting the opportunity to use all of their ammunition. I mean, we got 700 value on this one, 700 here, so they didn't quite pay for themselves, but they still have much of a, you know, much to give in this battle, essentially, right? But it looks like they're going to be unsummoned for a partial refund to try and you know, recoup that cost. Nice breath attack by Xiphos. This is a really good one. It does hit those Dark Riders. It looks like a little bit of pressure on the side objective. Xiphos is going to be taking the archers and some Silver and Guard over to Objective 3. Might be able to wrestle that, it's hard to say. Corsairs, unfortunately, though, will dominate these guys. So the Corsairs, even in their very tattered state, will put up a huge fight against these Lothern Seaguard. And I think it's only a matter of time before Xiphos is kind of forced into a triple cap situation, and the game is taken over. Is it lagging? I think it's just you, Jonathan. Yeah, there doesn't appear to be any lag in the game, so it's probably just your connection or your internet. So I would suggest refreshing. Cold Blue Knights moving down. They are, of course, very armored. Not going to want to fight, you know, spear units per se, but getting in there to counter the Reavers and just put more pressure on the objective certainly isn't a bad thing. Will Xiphos be able to wrestle Objective 3 back? It's pretty crazy that despite being down by like 4,000 value, Xiphos is still doing a very good job like holding and contesting objectives. And like, look at that, he's even like kind of threatening all 3. This is a very, very strange game. I mean, I suppose he might have gotten more healing off than I expected, and maybe a lot of the value for the Dark Elves is tied up on the Princess here. Princess turning about and is going to be continuing to shoot at Malekith, but Malekith is pretty heavily armored, and of course, I believe does have a little bit of missile resist as well, so he won't be taking much damage from this Princess, especially considering the Princess doesn't have good armor piercing values, right? So Coldwind Rider's up on the point, Lothern Seaguard just kind of chilling out, and the side point and Silver and Guard are taking this. Whoa! There's some weirdness going on here. Like, why do the Dark Elves kind of look like they need some milk? You know, why do they look like they're kind of struggling a little bit here? I guess a lot of the value is tied up on damage that was done to the Princess character. So high ground objective taken by Xiphos. Middle objective is being stabilized by the Dark Elves. So a couple of Corsairs are going to be getting to that middle point. And the side point is taken by the High Elves as well. Okay, this is getting really, really interesting, actually. And yeah, currently, as it stands, Xiphos would win on 2 points, but it's going to be very tough to hold. I do feel as if the Dark Elves like have more healthy units on the battlefield. Granted, another unit of the White Lines of Grace do come out. And are they going to be going to the middle objective? It looks like no. They could come and deal with these Blackheart Corsairs, perhaps. Looks like this Princess in the back going to be going to push off those Corsairs. And more spears are on their way over. So Silver and Guard being 3v1. And even though Silver and Guard are very durable, also quite good against cav units, pretty resilient against missiles with their silver shields, them being swarmed here is pretty rough. And I think that the Dark Elves just sending Bleak Swords and Chaff units onto the points will probably be enough to get those bad boys back. Up in the sky here, we do have the Princess coming down to attack the old Blackheart Corsairs as more White Lines of Grace do move on to the point. And the Witch King coming in for the kill. Witch King, of course, will be a very, very powerful combatant. Granted, the Princess, her combat stats aren't that bad. I mean, she's got like 50, 44, 520. I mean, Malekith, of course, still has better stats, but it's not that big of a differential. Like, she can definitely put up a fight. If Xiphos hadn't lost his Mage of Life, maybe there's more of a comeback avenue in this game. I don't know. It's hard to say. In the backfield, Reavers teamed up with Silver and Guard, take down these Cold Wind Knights, and this objective is going to be flipped. So the elves are going to be losing it to their evil cousins as the Blackheart Corsairs chase off multiple units. And it was a cool resurgence there from Xiphos. Like, it kind of looked like with his tattered elements, he would be able to kind of get a little bit of momentum back, but like, he cannot deal with Malekith. He simply can't. Malekith is going to be too much drama, man. You can see 520 weapon strength ready to just go hunting up here in the sky. Princess using her ammo, and what kind of value does she have? She's got about 1,800 value, so she's almost paid for herself. Dragons are, of course, a little bit more expensive if you're going to be bringing the character variants, but yeah, Dark Elves have taken over again. It kind of looked like there might be some weird glimmer of hope, but maybe Platypus was just a little bit lax on summoning out troops, and it made it look like Xiphos, or he was kind of waiting to Alpha Strike or something, but yeah, that's going to be pretty rough, my friends. Malekith chasing down the Princess. Objective 3 going to be taken, or 1 going to be taken by the Druki here in a minute, once some of the Dark Riders and some Corsairs move up there. Xiphos sending in some Silver and Guard, but yeah, they're going to get pounded by these repeater crossbows, shooting them in the back. And this objective firmly held by the Menacing Platypus, as we do see the old Blackheart Corsairs and the Bleak Swords holding it down for the lady. Well, not for the lady. I guess it would be for... Well, it could be for Marathi, I suppose. It could be for Marathi, you never know. You know, yeah, there's lots of ladies in Warhammer Fantasy. Dark Riders chasing down Reavers. Reavers in a straight-up fight usually do win. They have better combat stats, but they obviously are a little bit damaged, so those guys will be losing that fight. And the Corsairs are going to be moving up to the high ground objective here, as we do see them slowly approaching. Xiphos has got some Silver and Guard and some Sisters of Avalorn coming out. A little bit of a desperation play, trying to snipe Malekith. Not going to be easy, though. Yeah, they'll do some considerable damage if they can rip some shots, but I would wager that Platypus is going to be sitting on more, Soul Stealers, right? So he's going to be able to kind of heal that up, no problem. And now we're about to see either Breath Attack or just the Crows of Cain and Malekith Alpha Strike on a very expensive archer unit, which is pretty much one of the last bastions here that the Elves have. Oh my god, brutal attack. Malekith gets in there and cleaves through those units. And now the Crows of Cain probably will be able to finish the job. They have really, really high combat stats, and they regenerate too, which is an absolute pain. I mean, Sisters are good, but a tap out from Xiphos certainly warranted at that point. Could have been even earlier. GG, well played. Very, very good Dark Elf play. Both Throwers and Scourge Hunters won that game. Xiphos also, I think his Lord choice is a little bit suboptimal. Very cool that he brought it, though. Interesting seeing different Lords that you don't get to see in action too often. But at the end of the day, I just felt like the Princess was very mediocre compared to what Malekith brought to the table. So, and honestly, the prices of them probably not that far apart. I like the White Lines of Krace and Archer combo. Sisters of Avalorn, I think, are a decent inclusion. But I do think Xiphos with a couple Bolt Throwers, especially on Itza, where Bolt Throwers are like super, super strong, could have gone a ways. GG. All right, so let's see what the map's going to be. Xiphos playing very well for somebody who hasn't really been playing the past couple months. So the next map is going to be the Gates of Ekerend, one of my personal favorites. Gates of Ekerend. There we are. All right, looking good, my friends. And it is time. What are you guys saying here? Turin voice acted The Hobbit by using the code Haggard at checkout. Oh yeah, you guys are saying I should get some sponsors, huh? I don't know, man. I would consider doing such a, like, if there was something, I can't tell you how many emails I get from like these like mobile games and like games like World of Tanks and just these like pay to win grinding games. I refuse to do like anything with those type of games. Yeah, I can't. Mobile games are like I hate mobile games. Oh my god, mobile games are just the worst. It's literally just like preying on on the youth, you know, like taking advantage of addiction. It's just like, ugh. Turin Talks Tolkien podcast. Now that would actually be a great name. Although honestly, I'm not super knowledgeble about. I mean, I am somewhat knowledgeable about Lord of the Rings, but probably no more so than most of you guys in chat. Like any of us fellow nerds in chat who know all the basics of Lord of the Rings. That's like, I don't know the Silmarillion super deeply. I mean, I know the basics of it, but yeah, no. Yeah. I do get a lot of Raid Shadow Legends emails. Yeah, I've gotten them. Yeah. But like if we managed to get like look, if I got an email from like Relic be like, hey, you want to promote like an RTS game that I actually think is kind of cool. Like once I got an email from some company that wanted me to do a sponsored stream for the Lord of the Rings card game, and I was like, hell yeah, dude. Like I played it a little bit. It was fun, but I just loved the Lord of the Rings aesthetic. It was like a computer game, and yeah, it was pretty fun actually. Gunhound is knowledgeable. Let's do this. Yeah, that could be. I wonder if there are Lord of the Rings podcasts already. I watch more Silmarillion lore vids than I'm proud of. Yeah, absolutely. It's pretty fun. The Silmarillion is like more of a Tolkien flex than anything, though. In my opinion, the Silmarillion is like, yeah, it's like a flex. It's not like a pleasant read. I mean, if you're a diehard Lord of the Rings fan and you really want to know like the history of the world that you enjoy so much in both the books and the films, then it's a fun read. But it's more academic. You know, it doesn't. At least when I was reading it, it's like, and then so and so the first age. It like there's like 15 names on one page, and you're like, holy shit, how am I going to remember all this? It's kind of like reading the Bible a little bit. I went to a high school where they made us read the Bible, and it kind of felt like that. Could you take on 2 hobbits? Oh, 100%. I think so. But I mean, like, it depends though. If that hobbit is Samwise Gamgee, then I would have some reservations about being able to take on 2 hobbits. But if it was just like, you know, you grab 2 random hobbits from the Shire, I think so. If you see the ease with which like Faramir and the Rangers of Ithilien like handle and capture the hobbits, you're kind of like, okay. Yeah. Yeah, it is Lord of the Rings Bible. Yeah. Gunhound says, I read it, Lord of the Rings and the Hobbit. Every year for the past 15 years, says Gunhound. Oh my god, that is impressive, dude. Yeah, so you're definitely a true Dark Lord. I always kind of wondered what happened with the you cannot take on Sam and any other hobbit. Yeah, because Samwise is actually like, he's husky. He's like husky, strong. You know, he's working with his hands, like farming and doing gardening and stuff. And yeah, Samwise is, I think, pretty strong. I feel confident I could take Samwise one-on-one, but yeah, because the hobbits are pretty small. And for anybody who's ever done like grappling or martial arts, like, you can feel a massive advantage when you're grappling and or wrestling with someone who's like much smaller than you. It's like, it's a huge advantage. Even if someone's more experienced than you, like if you have a huge size advantage, it's pretty big. Could I take Gollum? Yeah, I think I could take Gollum. Yeah. But the problem is Gollum is like one of those, yeah, I know I'm not an Ithilien Ranger, that's correct, but I do have a fair amount of grappling experience, martial arts experience. Just throw Samwise Gamgee in an armbar. No, Gollum, what's scary about Gollum, guys, is that he could, like, Gollum would gouge your eyes. I would be a little bit more apprehensive about fighting Gollum. Like, I think he would be a harder fight, because I personally think Gollum would gouge your eyes, and Gollum would not be afraid to go for, grab the family jewels. Like, can you imagine Gollum, losing a fight? So Gollum's like fighting a big dude, right? And he's like, kind of losing, and then Gollum just goes straight for the family jewels and just starts just ripping at him, dude. Like, I think, I feel like Gollum would do that kind of thing. Like, you know how like chimpanzees and like apes fight? Just like dirty, like gouging, and like, like I feel like Gollum would go for that. So that would be a problem. Yeah, Gollum's scrappy. Okay, so I'd be curious to hear this. How many of you guys had a friend growing up who was just like the skinniest dude in the room? This guy is just like pure bones and elbows and like just sharp knees. And you might have like wrestled or, done whatever. And that person was like the scrappiest person on the planet. Like, you might be winning a match against them, but you're going to catch an elbow to the temple. You're going to like catch a knee to the stomach. Just these scrappy, skinny people. That's what it would be like fighting Gollum. Except Gollum's actually trying to kill you. Who wins, Gollum versus Tretch? Tretch would probably win. Although, are they using weapons? I mean, Gollum doesn't really know how to use weapons. Yeah, Gollum's just using his hands. In the, all these people in chat are like, that's me. Red's me, Ethan. I was that one, he's me. That's awesome. That's me. Hell yeah, dude. I had a friend in high school who was like, I don't know. So in high school, I wasn't like a big guy. I was maybe 5'10", by the time I was a senior and 170 pounds. Played football and whatnot. And I had a friend who was like maybe like 5'11", 6'1", but he weighed like probably 120 pounds. Just like the skinniest, the scrappiest guy. And like when we used to play basketball, dude, you would always catch an elbow to the side of the head or like a knee, just like these like gangly but strong and athletic people, mind you. Yeah. Can we expect Falcon to come back? No, he played for a long time. Yeah, Gollum's limber. Gollum could probably do some serious yoga. Like if you put Gollum in one of those like hot sauna yoga classes, he would dominate everyone. He's like literally sitting in Mount Doom just like doing yoga. Yeah, I wouldn't want to fight Gollum. I would actually fear for my life fighting Gollum. Which is even more impressive because Samwise Gamgee and Frodo are always wrestling with Gollum. He's all constantly attacking them, right? So yeah, those guys don't mess around. Yeah, Gollum would bite you too. He would bite you. But all jokes aside, I do think I could take Gollum, but I wouldn't want to. I feel like there would be some like nastiness. Yeah, I feel like I could take Gollum. Yeah. Let's just say, Turin, if they release Total War Lord of the Rings, you'll be tired of hearing from me. I can't wait, dude. I can't wait. Gollum has that like unnatural ring strength though, you know? Like the Gollum wants it more. Gollum fights like a cornered rat. Yeah, you see that's the thing. Like we talked, we once had this discussion. By the way, how are they not? Oh my god, do we legitimately have a Slaanesh mirror match? Are they waiting for me or something? We have a Slaanesh mirror match. Oh my god. How much time do I have to prepare for this fight? Or are we talking about versus Gollum? Could I take Gimli? No, definitely not. I don't think I could take any of the heroes of the Fellowship. No. I mean, excluding the hobbits. These are like warriors, you know. I'm not like I've done like some casual jujitsu on the side and some boxing, like casual. Like these are hardened warriors who've like fought in wars, you know. Like if we're talking like Boromir, Legolas, Gimli, like all these guys, yeah, like just hardened by the world, man. Could I bench press Gollum? Probably, yeah. Gollum probably doesn't weigh more than like 110 pounds. I mean, my wrists are messed up now, but when I used to do bench press, yeah, probably. Of course, yeah. I think so. A normal dwarf? No, I don't think so. Dwarves are very strong. Like dwarves, I think Warhammer dwarves are stronger than Tolkien dwarves, though. Like Warhammer dwarves, if you look at like how jacked Gotrek is, like that guy, dude, Gotrek could probably bench press like 800 pounds. Like straight up. You could put Gotrek like on a bench and he could probably, even more than that. Like what is the world record bench press? So the world record bench press is 1,320 pounds? No freaking way. Are you serious? Jesus. Okay, so Gotrek could probably bench more than that. Yeah, and those guys are, not that bench is like an indication of fighting skill, but like it's just like raw strength because Gotrek is like functional strength. You know, there's like a lot of gym bros who go to the gym, and I used to be one of these, who just used to work out biceps and shoulders and like chest, and you know, you look jacked, but you're not really that functionally strong. Like Gotrek is the opposite of that. Like the dwarves are functional strength, but also just look incredibly jacked. Ben, that's pretty funny. How many Legolas would you need to conquer Middle Earth? Dude, Legolas is super overpowered, man. Yeah. Yeah, Gotrek could... How much do you guys think Gotrek could bench? Gotrek's axe is so heavy, Felix can barely lift it, and he uses it one-handed, exactly. That's true, because the dwarves have like short arms, right? So it's like when it comes to bench press, they wouldn't have to lock out super hard. I've noticed that like a lot of like these elite bench presser guys are kind of more compactly built, and their chests, like because they barely have to lower the weight because their chest is just huge, and then their arms are short. So it's kind of like, yeah, I think that's a variable. That bench press is on steroids. Okay, yeah, makes sense. I bet you the natural one's like, yeah, substantially less. Movie Legolas is definitely more OP than the books. Gondel says, a girlfriend told me that when I started weightlifting, it's better to be strong than to look strong. 100% true. Yeah. Functional strength, especially as you get older, is so much more important than just like looking jacked. Yeah, it's pretty crazy. You think yeah, Gollum is we were having this debate. Who was I debating with? I think it was Professor Pone a while back. We were talking, but hopefully you guys don't mind. There's not a lot to talk about in this Slanesh mirror match. But like Gollum versus Dobby from Harry Potter. I guess you need to put some parameters down. Cause like if Gollum gets like in close quarters with Dobby and he's able to like grab his wand, you know, like then Dobby's just done for. So like, are we talking like an ambush where Dobby is just kind of like walking down the streets of like, you know, one of these Harry Potter villages and like Gollum just like jumps from the rafters and gets him? Or is it like a UFC cage fight where you have like Gollum and Dobby wearing like gloves, and does Dobby get his wand though? Like that's kind of cheating because then Gollum doesn't have any gear either. I personally think Gollum would beat Dobby, would kick Dobby's ass for sure. Yeah. Yeah, Dobby does have pretty decent magic though. But here's the thing. Dobby doesn't have a killer instinct. He probably wouldn't be willing to kill Gollum. Whereas Gollum doesn't give a shit. He would come in for it, and you know, I think Dobby might like try and paralyze Gollum or like teleport him somewhere else. But Gollum is one of the most determined creatures in all of fantasy literature. Like Gollum will keep coming for you. He'll keep going strong. He'll stalk you. He'll if he thinks that you're like his ring. Yeah, House Elves are all OP. They just choose not to use their powers. Makes sense. Dobby is more powerful than most wizards. That's not even a question. See, I don't know Harry Potter very well. So this is good that some of you guys are here. Does Gollum have the ring? That's true. Okay. So Dobby gets the wand and Gollum gets the one ring. That's fair. They both get their iconic equipment. If that's the case, then Gollum would just sneak up on Dobby and put him in a rear naked choke, 100%. He would just come up behind him and just like get his lanky, bony arms and just straight up like, yeah. Because Gollum is 100% a better grappler than Dobby. Like 100%. Gollum gets in there, dude. He does an arm drag, like drags the wand out of his hand, takes his back. Oh my god. These are my favorite discussions. These are my favorite discussions ever. Okay, Xiphos is still readying up his army, it looks like. I think Gollum would win in a cage fight, but Dobby would win an open field. Yeah, it depends on the ring. Because you need to have the parameters. Like, if Dobby knows he's there and has his wand, he could probably cast some spell to reveal him and then take him out with magic, right? But if it's like just like open world, like encounters, like in the streets... Dude, look how this is just so awful. Oh my god. If Gollum gets it, Dobby eat Ragdoll. Oh my god, dude. Gollum would eat Dobby's face. What is he? Is he on some of that? Oh my god. We're getting into Goku versus Superman territory. That's not as fun I like the more like ridiculous shit, you know? Yeah, I don't know. Doesn't Dobby need a wand to cast spells? I don't know if he needs a wand to cast spells. It's a good question. Islam Makachev versus Gollum. Oh my god, Islam would annihilate Gollum. Those grapplers from Dagestan are like the most terrifying like boa constrictors in the world, dude. There's no way. Real chat. Isildur versus Aragorn. Who takes it? Oh, Aragorn all day, I think. Like Isildur, like if we're talking about his appearance in the Fellowship, like he has his moment. Like, you know, he literally just takes a wild swing and Sauron's like extending his hand towards Isildur. Like if Sauron had just not done the movie villain thing and just like got his mace and just come down on him, like, yeah, it's a different story. By the way, did you guys know that in the Lord of the Rings trilogy, the TV show, or excuse me, the movie, sorry, Aragorn at the end of the Return of the King, there was a scene shot where Aragorn actually fights Sauron. So Sauron appears in his like battle plate, and Aragorn, instead of fighting the troll, was actually going to be fighting Sauron. You can look it up on YouTube and see like the like some screenshots from it and things like that, right? Yeah. Yeah, so Gunhound says incorrect. I feel like Aragorn is just so much. Isildur is a beast. Okay, so they just they do him a little bit dirty. in the movie. And also, you have to remember, my perception of Isildur is a little bit jaded because of like how he's depicted in the Rings of Power, which, oh my god, I do not want to go on a rant about Rings of Power, man. Okay, Gotrek unarmed versus Khabib. Oh, Gotrek would destroy Khabib. Gotrek has like freak strength. Like, freak strength. Gotrek literally fights greater demons of chaos. Like, there's a scene in the Gotrek and Felix, there's a scene in the Gotrek and Felix books where Gotrek fights like a manticore, basically barehanded. It's not a manticore, it's like some other monster. And he literally like jumps on its neck and Princess Leia's it with like a chain. Yeah. No. I'll show you guys. Hold on. I can show you guys after, although I think if I watch that on stream, it would be... Yeah. Turin, quick question. Okay. Anyways, we'll get back to the questions here. Ladies and gentlemen, here we are in Game 2 between Xiphos and Menacing Platypus. Xiphos here with Prince Sigvald the Magnificent, and it's a Prince Sigvald mirror match. This is basically hell. If you guys wanted to know what hell looks like in Total War Warhammer, then this is it. There's a double Slaanesh mirror match. Literally have identical armies. Chaos Warriors with Hell Scourges. And yeah, this is just, oh my god, this is so awful. This is so awful, dude. So, Marauder Horsemen on both sides. Xiphos is here, and we do have Marauder Horsemen on the other side. You can tell Xiphos is here to win today. You know, he's bringing, he went for the mirror match instead. Although I think Platypus picked into the mirror match, if I'm not mistaken. More javelins coming from downtown as they continue to go after the Marauder Horsemen of Slaanesh. Platypus getting a little bit of an exchange there. Xiphos moving up with Devoted Marauders and Chaos Warriors. I definitely think it's very important to control that side objective here on this map. Platypus going to be taking up, it looks like a little bit of control here in the woods. It does give them the option to bounce either way. You could like bounce out here. You could bounce out here, here. You know, he has like the epicenter of his army within striking distance of pretty much every objective here, which is pretty good. So Marauder Horsemen of Slaanesh going to be bouncing back and forth. Just kind of keeping the Marauder Horsemen of Platypus at bay. Without Sigvald over here, though, you know, the Sigvald of Menacing Platypus could maybe wrestle this objective. Chaos Warriors and Devoted Marauders and more Chaos Warriors. And we do have a Chaos Sorcerer of Slaanesh who's going to be rocking Phantasmagoria. Interesting. So a snare, which doesn't seem, I guess against the cavalry fights it could be good. And he does also have Acquiescence, which is very good to spam. Seekers of Slaanesh are an excellent choice here against all the warriors. They have really, really good armor piercing. So they can definitely rear charge into Chaos Warriors of Slaanesh and do some excellent, excellent damage as well. Marauder Horsemen continuing to just poke, throwing javelins into the silver shields. Looks like a little bit of a pit of shades going down. Xiphos, of course, with great micro, is able to dodge it almost completely. It tickles the pickle of these Chaos Warriors. You can see a couple of these guys, but they probably like it anyways. But they are going to be getting caught in the pit of shades a little bit, but most of the models do get away. And now the Seeker is going to be doing a side charge here. And I think that should qualify as a devastating flank. Devoted Marauders moving in. 2 objectives owned by Xiphos, and Xiphos does have his dudes here. But honestly, if Xiphos just moves up right now and takes his 3 warriors like here and just like takes that point, that would be a huge power play. And, you know, in a mirror match, getting that triple cap is going to be pretty important for sure. Devoted Marauders of Slaanesh continuing to do battle here. And here we do have more Hell Scourge boys. A Hell Scourge on Hell Scourge action. Looks like a debuff going down, Acquiescence, which is going to be giving a melee attack buff to the entire army. Wait, did Xiphos not bring the lore passive? Wait, what? He didn't bring the lore passive? No, he must have. So Xiphos did not bring the lore passive. Oh, that's such a mistake. It's like one of the best parts of the entire lore. Well, anyways, on the back objective, we do see Xiphos making a little bit of a play for it. So he's sending his 3 Chaos Warriors to get that objective 2. Going to be attempting a triple cap here. And if you can, you know, get 2 objectives and then maintain equal trading, like you're definitely in position to win this game. Hellstriders coming in, but we do see the Demonic Cavalry. Oh no, these are more Hellstriders actually. So it's just Hellstrider and Hellstrider grinding here. The Seekers, I think, are still fighting over here to reasonable effect. Yeah, it looks like they're just rear charging in and able to crumble a lot of these warriors. But yeah, I do not know why he wouldn't bring the lore passive. I do not know it. Devoted Marauders of Slaanesh will be moving in, and Sigvald is now up on the point. Sigvald does have 3 capture weight, but these guys probably have like 3 capture weight themselves, and then another 3 right here, and another 2 right there. So currently the capture weight is going to be favoring Xiphos for a moment. But Xiphos might need to reroute some of his Marauder Horsemen over to that objective to try and get his clutches back on that one. So we haven't seen Phantasmagoria yet. We haven't seen Pit of Shades in a little while. And it looks like this back objective is going to be taken by our French champion. His home objective not being taken by anything, but taking the back objective in these situations would actually be very tough. I can't help but think if Xiphos had brought the lore passive, he would be winning more trades across the map. Nonetheless, Zyphos going to be parking some horsemen up at the point, but it looks like this side one is going to be taken by the menacing platypus, as his Hellstriders are going to be pushing back the horsemen of Zyphos. So those bad boys going to be running for the hills as more Hellstriders are hot in pursuit, but obviously Zyphos can summon out his own Hellstriders and Seekers. So he does bring out Seekers, he does bring out Hellstriders, and is going to be trying to wrestle this point back. Granted, not going to be easy, as looks like there could be a little bit of a counterplay here. Warriors versus Chaos Warriors. I think these are Hell Scourges. Yeah, so the Hell Scourges should win that. I think they just have slightly better defensive stats. Granted, they do have really poor armor-piercing value, so maybe the Warriors do actually get the win there. It's hard to say. A Seeker here would be a very, very nice play. We do get some Chaos Warrior Hell Scourges coming over here to try and help as Marauder Horsemen make their way over, but this objective is going to be very, very tough to wrestle. Now, back here, it looks like Zyphos might have an attempt to get this back. We do see the Seekers of Slaanesh battling against Chaos Warriors with Hell Scourges, and they themselves have amazing armor piercing. Not the best on a head-on charge, because they're very squishy. They only have 5 armor, so Warriors can actually do okay against them. But with this Slaaneshi character, it seems like they're trading okay. And Zyphos does get the objective back as his Hellstriders concave in. Acquiescence going down as well. Going to be debuffing the stats, while the Marauder Horsemen basically just sit and kind of decide to trade. Sigvald's still fighting over here. I think he needs to find a way. Zyphos needs to find a way to get his Sigvald on the objective somehow. Because obviously the other Sigvald, the Bizarro Sigvald here from Medicine Platypus, is going to be providing a lot of cap weight there and certainly causing some havoc. As far as reinforcements go, Devoted Marauders coming in, and it looks like more Hellstriders. We do have a little bit of a back cap situation. Here, Zyphos is being overwhelmed, so his Chaos Warriors are slowly losing this fight. Looks like the Hell Scourges don't trade super well into these guys, and they are just heavily outnumbered as well. So, yeah, going to be tricky, and honestly, we could see a back cap as well. We do see the Menacing Platypus. Very, very good veteran domination awareness here. Going to be going for the back cap, although Zyphos does summon in some Hellstriders, which is going to be keeping them honest here. But currently, Zyphos up 500 points. Value trading is very even. Platypus up by about 500 here. They both have healing on Sigvald, though, so they both have a little bit of that, and now it looks like Sigvald's going to make his way over. And at this point, what you do if you're Zyphos, I think, is you just reinforce this objective with Sigvald, and support Hellstriders as needed, and try and defend your home point. This objective here, still being held by Zyphos, but not for long. It looks like Platy's going to be able to get this one back. Couple Hell Scourges here, bouncing out to intercept these Hellstriders, which probably should not charge in here. It looks like there's going to be a Fascination going down. Interesting. I mean, it does do some okay damage, but yeah, you don't want Hellstriders in combat with Warriors. It's not going to be a good trade for them. I guess with Fascination active, the trade is going okay, but when the Fascination wears off, not going to be the prettiest fight in the world for you. So back over here, it looks like Platypus in danger of taking this objective back, so well played. Guys, we have the dreaded Sigvald Duel of Fates. Look at that. So those two are going to be fighting tooth and nail here. So they got their shield bashes out, and Sigvald would love nothing more than this, to just fight himself, and he finally gets to look himself in the mirror, which is great. At times I always feel like in Total War, like, from a competitive perspective, it's not a good idea to ban mirror matches, I don't think, but like from a personal viewer perspective, I'm always like, who even likes mirror matches? Like, I feel like only the biggest sweats would like mirror matches. Like, I don't think anybody likes mirror matches, right? Pit of Shade's going down here on the far side, going to be tickling those Warriors in the back, and I can't help but think the slight edge that we're seeing from Platypus is because of his magic usage. Phantasmagoria going down, which does debuff leadership and also snares things in place. Looks like he does snare down the enemy Sigvald, and this objective is being held onto by Zyphos, but probably not for long. Seekers of Slaanesh is going to be getting caught in a Fascination right now. And the back objective in a little bit of danger, as we do see a Summoned Marauder Horseman coming out to try and stop these Hellscourge Marauders. And Zyphos still does have some Warriors fighting here. And man, these Hellscourge Warriors actually trading well. They might actually threaten this back objective once again. Yeah, those are just basic Chaos Warriors as well. It's quite literally the mirror match of mirror matches. 100%. So this objective going to be taken by Platypus. Obviously Zyphos had more invested on this side. He had a couple Chaos Warriors kind of chilling out over there. And now we see the Devoted Marauders moving up, going to be trying to recontest this objective, which has now flipped. And yeah, Zyphos is going to need to secure another objective again soon. He's going to need to get his clutches on something. Otherwise, Platypus is going to be able to catch up. I think on just 2 right now, it's going to be close. I'm not quite sure. I'm terrible at math. Flying Taco in chat says, I like the Lizardman mirror. Yeah. There are some mirrors that are fun. Like, I actually like Empire mirror. I think Dwarf mirrors can be kind of funny. But yeah, they're still a bit of a miserable grind to watch. Yeah. There's nothing worse than like a mirror of factions where they're like super sweaty factions, like double Slaanesh, double vampire counts. Like, I feel like those are something. Those are something. So Chaos Warriors of Slaanesh still fighting on this point, and look at this, man. Zyphos might actually have an opportunity to get this point back, which is pretty crazy. These Hell Scourges have just been trading so well into the Warriors, and I suppose the fact that they have just such vastly superior melee attack has gotten the job done. But now we see Platypus sending in some Warriors here to make sure that he does stabilize that objective. Zyphos able to control this one. And on the side point, it looks like Platypus has pretty good control here as more Marauders, more units coming in. There's a value lead for Platypus as well, 7.8 to 6.3, which is the difference of like 2 Chaos Warriors, right? So essentially, Platypus probably has 2 Chaos Warriors worth of units of an advantage on the battlefield, which Xiphos would have to dig back, most likely using things like Seekers and different things like that. So back here, Devoted Marauders grinding, more Devoted Marauders, but evil Sigvald here. The dark purple Sigvald is able to hold on to the point while the other Sigvald attacks the Chaos Warriors. Xiphos' best bet, I mean, maybe going for the objective 2 here, but yeah, it looks like Platypus is just kind of covering all of his bases and doesn't really have any vulnerabilities or hole in his games or anything like that. So, oh my god, the Nurgle mirror matches are just another hellscape, right? Mirror Nurgle is funny, and it's funny. You know why you guys think the Nurgle mirror match is funny? It's because we make it funny by suffering. You know what I'm saying? Like, all of us suffering together is what makes it funny. But, like, if you were to just watch a mirror match with, like, no one casting it and, like, no chat or anything, I think it would just not be fun at all. You would just be like, why am I here? This is like hell on earth, dude. A little bit of harrying and skirmishing here. Xiphos attempts to defend his backfield objective. We do have more Marauders coming out. Devoted Marauders going to get smashed, though, by Sigvald. And also there is, I believe, a unit of Hellscourge Warriors here. I can't help but think the magic for Xiphos was the weak link. Like, if he had had the melee attack buff, imagine if Xiphos had been casting the entire game, right? And getting melee attack buffs on his warriors fighting on the other side. How much more decisive some of those fights might have been. He might have been able to hold on to the 2 points. But in this case, currently, yeah, Platypus will barely win on 2 points. Like, barely. It would be like a 100-point victory or something like that. So, yeah, we'll have to see. Sigvald's still going here. Maybe Xiphos has a chance of doing something on this side, although it doesn't look like it. Looks like Seekers getting into melee with Hellstriders a little bit tough. I mean, the Hellstriders do take a lot of damage, but Hellstriders do also trade very cost effectively here. Looks like Pit of Shade's going to be coming down from Platy. Very, very nice cast by Platypus there. Beautiful. Going to be hitting these Seekers and tickling these Marauder Horsemen of Slaanesh. So, based on what I'm seeing now, it looks like we're going to be seeing a rematch of the World Championship Grand Finals, in which we had Platypus and Houseplant play in the Grand Finals. So, we will be seeing that go down here. Hellstriders moving up. I don't see too many ways Xiphos can come back here, ladies and gentlemen. More and more cav coming in. Hellstriders still pushing up. If Xiphos can recapture objective 2 for like a hot minute, like for a good like minute or two, there's certainly a chance that he could win. There's certainly a chance. So the objective actually flipping a little bit. We do have some Devoted Marauders coming on in, and Xiphos does have a nice critical mass of Seekers and Hellstriders up here. But these Chaos Warriors with the Hellscourges are going to be able to control that point, I think. They're so tough to remove. I mean, the 55 melee defense, physical resist, immune to psychology. Slaanesh basically just has like the best of everything. It's pretty crazy. Hellstriders charging once again. Yeah, who would have thought that Slaanesh would have the tankiest Chaos Warrior, right? Like, Nurgle should be the one who's the tankiest. But the fact that they have physical resist and insane melee defense and the same amount of armor as a Nurgle Warrior just makes them like vastly better. Nurgle Warriors are still very good. Like, every Chaos Warrior variant is strong. Like, Tzeentch ones are very good. They have the shields, the magic damage, which is highly pertinent. Sigvald's still bumping and grinding over here. And it looks like this objective is being a little bit lightly defended. If you're Xiphos, what you can maybe do here is save up for like a Seeker and a Hellstrider and try and overwhelm this objective. But yeah, if Platypus wisely leaves his Sigvald here, I don't think that's going to be possible. So I don't think that will go down. Hellstriders moving up. Marauder Horsemen getting up onto the point. Going to be throwing some fat javelins into the face of their foes. So here it comes. But yeah, again, this looks like the beginning of the end. Xiphos might feel like he has a chance here, but I think it's going to be too much to overcome that the kind of the bastion that we're seeing on these 2 points. The Sigvald Duel of Fates. I mean, if one Sigvald can manage to win, this is just such a wet noodle contest. Such a wet noodle contest. So 520 here, 65, 60, 82. Look at the Sigvald fight. The actual Mirror Guard fight. Wouldn't it be really funny if, like, as an Easter egg, Creative Assembly added sync animations for Sigvald when they fight each other? They're just, like, gazing into the mirror and, like, mesmerizing the other one with, like, their own image. That'd be really, really funny. This is a good play by Xiphos. A good desperation play. Taking all the mobility, which was on the other side, and just going for it. But the problem being is it's going to be incredibly difficult to defend objective 1. Because now Platypus can just cackle and, well, I don't know if Platypus really laugh, but they can make squeaking sounds or whatever they do. And move up to objective 1 here, right? And this objective is pretty much free. I mean, you could summon some cav, but these are Devoted Marauder Spears. Xiphos, of course, going to be responding with some Devoted Marauders of Slaanesh, which is a good idea. Just getting like 2 of those guys out and trying to get up on that point and stabilize it. Xiphos might actually have an opportunity to flip this point. He does have a lot of dudes on here, and it is actually going pretty quickly, ladies and gentlemen. If he can break these Marauders off too, that would be pretty massive. But Platypus responds very quickly. Platypus coming over with a lot of Marauder Horsemen and mobility of his own, which is most likely going to shut this down. Although if Platy lets this objective flip, it could put him in a bit of a dangerous situation. See how he's not moving on to the point? He's like sitting out here, and that's actually going to let Xiphos flip it. Okay, that's actually pretty big. Yeah, that didn't need to happen. He actually could have moved up onto the point and denied that right there at the last second. But that does give Xiphos a bit of a fighting chance. But in order for this to work, he needs to maintain his back objective here, which I don't think he's going to be able to do. And obviously, his foothold on this side is going to be very fickle. It's going to flip pretty quickly, I would wager. So Xiphos with a nice ninja right there. But Platypus with the Platypus grip, the poison tendrils, they are able to get this objective here. And Xiphos is not going to be able to get this one back. He needed to just hold it. Because capturing an objective is way harder than just like holding it, right? So yeah, a couple of Chaos Warriors here, devoted Marauder Spears. We do see some Hellstriders on their way to try and help out, but that is going to be a very, very bleak one. He still does have a little bit of time left, and I don't know what's going on. It looks like, what the hell is this? Did one of the players like disconnect? Where are all the banners go? You guys seeing this? It's a strange issue. It's definitely a very, very strange issue. Okay. Have you guys ever seen this before? Oh, Platypus dropped from the game. Okay. Well, I think Platypus was clearly winning that. So we'll talk to Xiphos and Platy and see what they want to do. Because, you know, it still was a close enough game that it would probably warrant a restart. But we'll check with the players. I've never seen that. The dreaded Platypus crash. Okay. So checking in. Crash Platy. It was still close enough. Like, Xiphos is up by 200 points. And if he could have ninja'd a point in the last quarter, he might have had a chance. But it certainly favored Platy. But we'll talk to the players and see. Release us from this hell. Oh my god. Yeah, it looks like Platypus crashed. We might have to do a replay, honestly. But we would probably just do a repick to avoid the match. No, we're not doing another Slaanesh mirror match, dude. Let's see if he's coming back here. No, we're not doing another mirror match, guys. It's not happening. Okay, so let's see if he comes back. No, we're not replaying the mirror. Okay. Let's see what's going down here. No Nurgle mirror matches. No. Yeah, Platypus. Oh, you're in chat. Okay. The rematch seemed planned by Slaanesh. Yeah, so my ruling on this is that Platypus had a slight advantage. But it was still close enough that a misplay could have given the game to Xiphos with the objective. So, but yeah, Platypus was definitely had the advantage. So what we're going to do is just give a replay. So we're not going to give Platypus a loss or anything for crashing. Oftentimes for loss, like if somebody crashes, like you give the win to the other side. But we'll offer a replay. So Platy, when you can get back, you guys just replay. You guys can repick, but just no Slaanesh. Yeah, with no Slaanesh this time. All right. Good luck, have fun. So, we'll see if you can get back, Platy. No, don't do that to me. I thought you guys were my friends. Why do you want vampire counts and Nurgle mirrors, dude? So you can just repick as you did. There starts, but no faction repeats. All right. There we go. We need more Empire. Well, Xiphos I think plays a little bit of Empire. I'm not sure. We'll do it. We'll do Gates of Ekrond again though. That's a good map. So yes. You know, you don't want to give players like in a casual event. This is not like a super high stakes tournament, so we're not going to give player a loss for crashing. You know, if like, you know, if Xiphos had absolutely no chance of winning, but even still, it's like when someone crashes, it's yeah. That's the problem with Total War. Us like not having servers means we have a lot of stability issues. Like, when was the last time you were watching like another major RTS esport, right? And like you saw a crash? It's pretty rare. I think your torture is the entertainment. Yeah, Derek, I think you're onto something there. All right. So Platypus, let's see if you can get back into Discord. Platy, were you able to get back into Discord? I know you're in stream right now. He said his Discord crashed. May need to do your picks and bans in stream chat. Okay, so Platypus, if you're in chat, okay. Let's see what they're gonna do. What's it gonna be? Warcraft 3 Reforged. Okay, but Warcraft 3 Reforged is like, had to resort to browser Discord. Oh my god. Yeah, Warcraft 3 Reforged has crashes in its major tournaments. Yeah, poor guys. I really like the guys who do that too. The I mean, I don't know them personally, but they seem really, I really like what they do. The Back to Warcraft guys. I think it's Neo and Remo are the two dudes. I think they're from Germany. But they do a good job with keeping Warcraft 3's competitive scene going. I mean, there's obviously other folks who do it as well, but yeah. So they're going to do their picks here. And yeah, man, the good times will roll. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that suffering. Hopefully you enjoyed the suffering. Yeah, he had to use browser Discord. Platypus just like, everything just basically exploded on him. All right, guys, I'm going to go get some water real quick. We'll play the little hype trailer and we'll get this next match started in just a minute. All right, all right.
More Lord of Death, keep our souls, lest they fall prey to him.
All right, players doing their picks and bans. We're back in business. I got some water. I'm nice and hydrated, and life is good, man. Life is good. Yes, yes. Yeah, we get more games too, which is great. I think this trailer is the bring me to my mind trailer. Dude, the Total War trailer was so good. Oh, I just loved it. It's so good. Like, there's so much potential in that universe, right? And what's pretty crazy is Warhammer, like the Warhammer YouTube channel, like the official Games Workshop YouTube channel actually posted that trailer. Yeah, it's just like, that was interesting because it just, yeah, I mean, obviously Old World's coming, so they want to like start preemptively promoting that, but it's like, that trailer is just so much better than anything that's ever come out of Age of Sigmar. Like, so much better. Like that one trailer. Like if you look at like how haggard the trailers are that you get for like Age of Sigmar and like, oh god, and the Ground Marines, dude. I don't get into that right now. Age of Sigmar is a good game to play, though. To be fair, gotta give it, you know, it's just deserves there. But the game system is good. It's smooth, but man, just seeing like the mangled the lore and just, oh god, it's so bad. Yeah. You met James. Somebody in chat says they met James Cosmo. Oh, he's the he's in Braveheart, right? He's one of the William Wallace's kind of lieutenants. Yeah, I know who he is. He's awesome. Yeah, it was so cool. The Lost Egg says yeah. But hearing Franz's speech and after he slams the hammer, yeah, it was so good. It was so good. Yeah, I'm gonna use the trailer for the 2v2 streams. Yeah, I will. It was amazing. So we got Khorne, Norska, and Tomb Kings banning Khorne. So now Zyphos gets the pick. Come on, Zyphos. Ban Norska and go Wood Elves. You know you want to. I don't know how that would go, but... Well, that's the thing. It's like... In Age of Sigmar, it's Wood Elves banning Norska. Oh, he did it! I called it! Alright, this is going to be way more fun. Like, way more fun. Way more fun. But yeah, like, you know, the whole thing with, like, Age of Sigmar lore, how there's these realm gates and, like, you know, just countless realms and nothing really, like, matters that much. It's just kind of like... In the ground marines, you know, the Sigmarines, they're just like, oh yes, when they die, their souls are taken back to be reforged once again. It's just kind of like that classic plot armor, like. Whereas, you know, in Warhammer Fantasy, when your boy Hans, you know, gets in there and has like a spear and he has to fight like a giant minotaur, you know, shit's gonna get real when Hans and the boys have to fight, right? You can you feel it. It feels more like grounded and more like intense because of that. Yeah. I just can't get into it. I just can't. And like also in Age of Sigmar, you know, the gods, and there's like super powerful gods and deities, like kind of like more directly involved in mortal affairs. Whereas in like fantasy that does exist, but it's like kind of like when it happens, it's more of like a rare epic thing, you know? Yeah, I don't know, man. I could go on a rant about it all day. Yeah, and that's the thing. Like the Age of Sigmar lore isn't even that like bad nowadays, but like if it's only an issue when you draw a parallel to Warhammer Fantasy, right? When you draw that parallel, if Age of Sigmar was just its own thing and never had the correlation to fantasy, then I don't think people would give it, you know, would even critique it that much. It'd just be your generic fantasy thing. But it's like considering what it got rid of and what it stems from is kind of tricky. Yeah, the Lord of the Rings style council was so good. It was so good. Hopefully we don't have another desync here. God, I hope not. Yes. Yeah, I would love Old World to just come back and just crush it. Like if Warhammer Tabletop, Old World comes back, you know, Warhammer Fantasy Tabletop and just crushes all the, you know, crushes it in sales and does better than Age of Sigmar. That's like a power fantasy, of course. But I mean, then we would get some legitimate support. Because GW is going to be motivated by money, right? So if they see Old World doing better than Age of Sigmar, or at least threatening that it could, then it's gonna just take over again. Hans Chad, yeah, yeah. No, I've played a couple Age of Sigmar games with my Empire army. GW made a book, a battle tome, which was basically throwing a bone to all the old Warhammer Fantasy players, where you could use your old fantasy miniatures in an army called Cities of Sigmar. So. I played my Empire army of Cities of Sigmar a couple times. It's okay. It's the game. Like I said, the game's easy to learn. The barrier of entry is way better, and I think that was a big issue with what I've seen. I didn't, you know, play a ton of like Warhammer Fantasy back in the day. I kind of like would see it in stores and dabbled as a child a little bit, but I never really like, you know, got into it. But the barrier to entry for Warhammer Fantasy seemed awful. Like these huge armies. Massive rank and file formations, and it was really expensive. Whereas like Age of Sigmar is much easier to get into, I think. Like less models to paint. The rules are more simple. So like you could teach Age of Sigmar rules to like an 11 or 12-year-old pretty quickly. Whereas like Warhammer Fantasy is going to take a little bit more, you know, when it comes to like, you know, at various points in history, like templates and, you know, reforming formations and just all that kind of stuff. Yeah. Yeah, you know, there's some factions in Age of Sigmar I think are pretty cool. The one I really dislike is the Stormcast Eternals. I feel like in a fantasy setting, like the one thing they, you know, like having like a regular human faction that's very relatable fighting against the horrors of, you know, a fantasy world, I think is one of the best templates. There's a reason why that's like most of the best fantasy universes have that template, right? It's like you have like in 40K, I mean, it's more sci-fi, but of course you have most of the soldiers in the Imperium are, you know, Astra Militarum. In Tolkien, you know, you have Minas Tirith, Gondor, you know, Rohan, like all these regular sort of dudes. I mean, some of them have more, you know, ancestry with more powerful humans, but generally speaking, it's like, you know, it's just your dude with like a sword and some leather armor battling some giant troll or an orc or something. Yeah. So that's just a little something here. So Khorne versus Wood Elves, fun matchup. I think Khorne favored, pretty hardcore. But Xiphos is one of the best Wood Elf, or you know, he hasn't been practicing, but historically he has been one of the best Wood Elf players in the world. So, Yeah, no, I know they've been slowly improving the lore for Stormcast. I'm sure they're doing a good job, but it's just not. It ain't for me. Yeah, I just can't. If they do a new Cities with Sigmar Codex where they make like regular humans, I would be very interested in that. I'd be very interested in that. Like, I've been wanting to collect an Age of Sigmar army, but there's just nothing that calls to me. So for now, I just use my Empire Warhammer Fantasy. But if they make a new human faction with like new models, dude, I'll definitely get that. Hopefully the new Cities of Sigmar range will be as epic as, yeah, I hope so. Yeah, that's what's really fun about fantasy, that it's like grounded in some history, right? You have the Empire, which is based around kind of like Holy Roman, Central European history. I guess Bretonnia is just kind of anchored in Arthurian legend, right? And then you have like, you kind of have a combination of like, yeah, like longbows with, you know, French royal knights and all that. And yeah, Kislev is cool. You know, you got like Slavic culture represented there. That's really fun. Like, my wife is Polish, and you know, she gets like super hyped anytime there's like Kislev. Like, she feels like she's like being like can really have a kinship and like identify with them a bit, right? Because like Kislev cavalry are directly inspired by Polish cavalry, the hussars. Yeah. So that's what's pretty fun. That's what's pretty fun. Yeah, I really like the elves. I definitely like the elves and the wood elves a lot. I think wood elves are. Do wood elves actually, are there like an actual wood elf faction? No, they have Sylvaneth, which are like more like tree spirits, right? Yeah, so I don't know if there's anything like that. Yeah, the steampunk dwarves in Age of Sigmar are a little bit strange. Coming from like, you know, that kind of traditional dwarf background of like not having that kind of crazy innovation, it's definitely a little bit jarring. Bretonnia is one big Monty Python reference. Yeah, it makes sense. Am I expecting anything for Ind and Koresh? I don't know. That's really up to Games Workshop. You know, CA, I'm sure would be willing to do it. Yeah, like there's I think, yeah, when it comes to certain cultures in the world, I think Games Workshop treads lightly, because depicting certain cultures in you know, a fantasy universe, they try to be careful not to, you know, obviously step on any toes and whatnot. So Games Workshop's going to be more guarded in that way. With I don't know though. Yeah, maybe. I would love to see like Nippon, yeah, and Koresh. That would be very cool. Ben says, in March you're heading to Poland. So I've mainly been to Warsaw, and like near Warsaw, like on the outskirts of it. I haven't like traveled Poland too much outside of going there. But yeah, just get some, go get some pierogi, man. Just go to a dumpling house and just feast. That's all I can say. And try some of the, well, I guess it would be out of season, but in the winter in Poland they have like mead. They have like this honeyed mead, which is just will make you cry tears of joy. It's so good. It's so good. So it is time. We got the Wood Elves versus Khorne. Big Daddy Durthu coming in with the Treekin build, which I love. I think it's a great idea. The Treekin are just roadblocks. Like the Khorne, if Khorne doesn't bring Minotaurs, they're not going to be able to kill those easily. It's going to take years and years and years. Oh man, look at that. Check it out. We got the Wood Elves with Big Daddy Durthu. Looks like Lifecaster as well, so maybe Durthu just has his items. Maybe a Flock of Doom. Probably just Flock of Doom, I would guess. And then probably Regrowth or something. Or Earthblood to heal up the Treekin. War Dancers are pretty good too. They'll definitely be able to take out the Khorne Marauders. You know, they'll take some damage in the process, but generally speaking, they will. Dude, I'm so excited for Blood Bowl this next week. It's going to be so much fun. I don't know what team. I think I'm going to make a Nurgle team first. I think I'm going to do Nurgle because I'm too much of a mouth breather in that game. So I have to play bashing teams. If I try and play like finesse teams, I'm just terrible usually. So, all right, guys. So the Tree Spirits, they got physical resist here. I'm going to be very good against Warriors and Marauders, and also high armor and super high melee defense. That's going to be very tough for the Marauders to take down. Durthu just going to be coming in with the Sword of Death, and yeah, I mean, he can definitely fight. Durthu is, I'm surprised he did. How come Durthu doesn't have over 500 weapons ranked? It feels kind of weird that he's only at 470, but yeah, he's very tough to kill. And we do have a Regrowth and Earthblood caster, and that's pretty much it. So it looks like the Wood Elf's going to be taking Objective 3, so he's going to be moving out with his Treekin and Big Daddy Durthu, and over on the side objective number 1 here, I would imagine he'll probably just summon some Eternal Guard and just kind of like hold this down. Just play it safe a little bit, so... Yeah, people really sleep on Treekin. Like, Treekin are actually a very good unit, I think. I think they're one of the hidden gems of Wood Elves. Wood Elves are probably one of the least played factions in competitive Total War Warhammer. So, like, I think if more people played them, you would see them more often. Now for the army of the legendary platypus, it's going to be Valkyrie the Bloody. And one of the few matchups in which Chad Chaos Knights, hell yeah, dude. Chaos Knights are actually really good against Wood Elves. They plow their infantry, they dominate their cavalry, they can chase down archers. Very, very tough to kill. Unless, of course, they run into the dreaded Zotes, which aren't very common. Marauders, Chaos Warriors, Valkyrie the Bloody. Valkyrie going to be fighting Jirthu most likely. Jirthu should be able to beat Valkyrie in a straight up fight. It's hard to say. Valkyrie does have anti-large and demon shield and whatnot, but yeah, in a straight up fight. Yeah, I'm definitely going to do a Nurgle team, I think. Yeah, I think I'm going to as well. So the battle is soon to be on. I'm not sure what crazy deployment parameters are going down. Let me make sure the players have no issues in Discord. Both players saying good luck, have fun. Since we don't have chat in this game. God, how could we not have chat? How could we not have chat? It's crazy. Hey, Grelic, thank you. We're talking Poland, so shout out for my home country. And yes, we've got loads of amazing comfy foods. It's true. So I lived in Poland for 3 months. Thank you so much for the 50 Zlotus, my friend. I lived in, and this will be the last story before we start. I lived in Poland for 3 months, and one of my favorite things I used to love doing is after working for the day, I would just go get a giant kielbasa. So I would go to the local butcher in town and just get like a giant kielbasa. And I would just get like a huge loaf of like homemade bread, and I would just like literally lay in bed and eat kielbasa and bread, and just like, oh, it was such a glorious time for sure. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. Marauder Horsemen throwing axes, doing a little bit of harassing, and they're actually a good choice against the Treekin. They actually do fire damage with their axes, which makes them very effective against these units. And the back objective going to be held by some War Dancers. I wonder if Khorne's going to go for the back objective. Platypus kind of posturing up in the woods right now and just kind of seeing what's going on. Marauders, Chaos Warriors, trying to decide which direction they want to play. I can't help but think that it's a little bit more effective maybe to push up the middle here with the Wood Elf style of play that they're doing with that Treekin push and just like grab these two objectives. Because like the problem is Khorne's going to split them up. And Treekin aren't good at moving. Right? So what's going to happen is this Khornate army is just going to come down here and crush this one War Dancer. And we do see the Wood Elves trying to summon in some reinforcements, but yeah, this is going to be a little bit scary. Xiphos with some Hawk Riders as well. Look at that. So here they come. Hawk Riders kiting back the Chaos Furies. And yeah, not a bad choice. Hawk Riders do have good armor piercing and melee, so they can definitely do a little bit of work against Chaos Knights. But yeah, Xiphos is going to have a hard time defending both points, I think. Especially with the Khorne army like splitting the difference in the middle and just like cutting them off. Like maybe Big Daddy Jirthu starts heading over here. It looks like there's going to be a Sleipnir going down. Xiphos doesn't see it. Beautiful cast. Beautiful cast right there. It hits the War Dancers, it hits the Glade Riders, and is able to tickle their pickle as now the Khornate Warriors are going to be advancing up. Over here on the far side, Hawk Riders cutting getting owned a little bit, so the Fury is able to catch them. Hawk Riders are okay in melee, but they only have 18 melee defense against 46 melee attack. So they're going to get karate chopped pretty bad by the Chaos Furies, right? So now Jirthu realizes he probably has to move. I mean, Chaos Knights are coming in. There's a lot of scary stuff here. And do the Wood Elves even have anything back here? What did Xiphos summon? So Xiphos summons a unit of Hawk Riders. Hawk Riders to try and shut down the Chaos Knights seems a little bit precarious. I mean, it could work. But yeah, I think a lot of this is a positioning misplay here from Xiphos. I think just moving straight up the lane like this and just playing those two objectives would be way, way better. Because now this objective is 100% going to be yielded to Chaos. You can see the Wood Elves are going to have to pull back. The Hawk Riders getting a little bit of firepower into the Chaos Knights here as we do get a summon of Eternal Guard. Eternal Guard can fight off Chaos Knights. Assuming they brace for the charge, they'll be in okay shape. Spellsinger of Life is over here, and is Big Daddy Jirthu coming? He should be moving over this way. You should be taking Jirthu and a couple Treekin and going to like get on. They want to be grinding on an objective, right? So Hawk Riders jumping on the Chaos Knights, and they actually break the charge, and the Chaos Knights start to take some casualties. We do see, no, not yet actually, but they do take some damage. Yeah, they haven't lost any models yet. The first model's been dragged down by the Hawk Riders, and the other Hawk Riders looking to cut him off. So look at this, Xiphos with the dreaded double Hawk Rider attack. Does isolate and get some big damage on some of the Chaos Knights right there, which is quite cool, but now when the Furies get involved, it's going to get a little bit messy. Now, is there going to be some Way Watchers or Archers coming out? No, it looks like it's mostly melee Wood Elves here. So Eternal Guard saturating in. Looks like both Hawk Riders did get away for the most part. So one unit of Hawk Riders is here, and the other one is in okay shape. And they do pull back, but the Chaos Knights got quite beat up here. Spellsinger of Life is on its way over, and now the War Dancers have ambushed in the woods. The fact that you have Durthu sitting here not helping, though, is a huge problem. Durthu needs to be active in the battle. He's an expensive centerpiece, and he doesn't want to be just sitting there chilling. Well, you know, the Khornate forces get to use, like, everything. They have, like, Valkia fighting. Like, things are looking certainly better for them. Eternal Guard battling against Marauder Horsemen, and it looks like Valkia is a little bit trapped up. We do get some Minotaurs coming in. Minotaurs of Khorne. Gonna absolutely butcher these War Dancers. Absolutely butcher. Oh, my God. That's going to be extremely painful, dude. Extremely painful, so... Good night to those infantry. Hawk Riders up in the sky doing some work as we get Wild Riders coming in. Wild Riders charging into Chaos Warriors, though, is not necessarily a strong play. And when is Durthu going to come? Okay, is he moving? Yeah, he is. Durthu and the Treemen are now moving. In the forest, we have War Dancers battling Marauders with some Eternal Guard, so maybe they'll be able to fight here. The Chaos Knights trying to rear charge in, but they're going to get caught up on their own units. Dude, Chaos Knights are such a badass unit, dude. Such an awesome unit. I do get in there. War Dancers pop the Shadow Coil, which is going to be giving him 62 melee defense. That's crazy. Back objective, though, still very, very owned by Khorne. Value trading looking to be favorable for the Platypus, and I honestly think Xiphos' build has plenty of teeth in this map, like in this, from what I'm seeing right now. I just feel like the placement of the units is really, really hurting him quite a bit. Couple Fleshhounds trying to sneak around the back with some Horsemen. Xiphos summons in more Glade Riders, and now Durthu's on his way across, and the fighting in the forest does continue as the War Dancers do butcher those Marauders, and Durthu and his tree people finally making their way over, and they're going to be trying to anchor down this objective, that is for sure. So Valkia the Bloody hunting down the Bird Lady up in the sky. Certainly a good target for Valkia if she can catch it. Anti-large, armor piercing, not that you need a lot of armor piercing against Wood Elves, who are packing pretty light armor there. Glade Riders charging into Marauders, taking down a couple models. Decent shock charge on these guys. They do have a charge bonus of 40, which is pretty much the same as like Empire Knights and similar stat line. So like really the damage that a Glade Rider is going to be doing is actually pretty comparable to an Empire Knight in terms of like just pure damage output. Eternal Guard are back, looking at the value trading is favoring Khorne, and again, the reason why it's going like this, guys, is we're simply seeing like a small portion of the Wood Elf army fighting a vastly more massive portion of the Chaos army, right? Like Chaos is basically using everything, whereas the Wood Elves are sitting idle with quite a few forces here, which this kind of consolidated Treekin style of play works better if you just keep them all together and push the two objective lane, at least on this map. Like if you're on Black Ark, maybe a little bit different since it's like more open and bigger, but yeah, it's hard to say. So Hawk Riders rear charging into the Chaos here, Chaos Knights, and we do also get Glade Riders moving in with Wild Rider support. Wild Riders, unfortunately, a bit of a weak unit. And now we get Big Daddy Durthu coming in, which, you know, this is what was needed. Imagine if Durthu had been fighting the entire game, like what he could have potentially gotten done here as the Marauders of Khorne continue battling and doing basically nothing against these Treekin, right? So you can see those units certainly shining and doing their best. War Dancers on their way out for round 2. Chaos Warriors will, unfortunately for them, trade very, very well. We do also see that the dreaded Platypus also rocking some Minotaurs of Khorne here with the dual weapons, which is essentially a hard counter against the War Dancers. They're going to be able to butcher them, and we do see the Chaos Warriors being outnumbered a bit. But the War Dancers still taking heavy casualties. And we'll fight in the shade, I suppose. There's no arrows blotting out the sun, but we're certainly trying our best here as we do see these War Dancers just struggling against the armor, really. But yeah, trading okay, I suppose. So Big Daddy Tree over here, still going and doing great. You see, like, as things get moving here and as the Durthu gets involved, there starts to be effective pushes. Like, these Marauders are getting beaten up. Durthu and company have a nice little, like, Death Star right here. We do have a couple isolated Wood Elf units fighting against Fleshhounds and multiple Fleshhounds here, so not going to go great for them. And the Hawk Riders being chased down by Furies. Very good play. I mean, Hawk Riders are such a squishy unit. They're a unit that's designed to do the alpha striking, not to be the one getting attacked. Like, if they're the ones taking the charge from a high DPS unit, they're basically going to be dead weight. But Hawk Riders did have some time in the Warhammer 2 meta. If you want to talk about, like, 25-minute Wood Elf kiting games, the dreaded good times of land battles. Yeah, granted, land battles nowadays. We have the new land battle capture point mod by Yumai's and Gojira, so maybe we'll get back to some of that as well. Could be fun. Treekin, doing okay. Marauder Horsemen throwing axes, emptying their ammo into them, but Minotaurs are also a reasonably good answer against them. And these are Minotaurs with great weapons. So Xiphos just seems to be taking rough trades across the board, as we are going to see these Minotaurs just absolutely cut apart these Treekin. Treekin also going to get attacked by Fleshhounds, which is extra DPS. Durthu will take a while to drag down. No Flock of Doom. He does have Sword of Daith, which is an AoE kind of punishment ability, one of his items. And the home field objective looking very, very much in the control of Khorne. I do think this game's over. I don't think there's going to be a whole lot the Wood Elves can do. I think they had an opportunity in the beginning to maybe push up and get some momentum like on these two objectives. Because here's the thing. On this map, you push objective 1, you push 2, and then your opponent, if they go objective 3, just like a chess game, they have to respond. They'll be like, okay, I'm losing my home objective. And then when they abandon objective 3, you then alpha strike it with Glade Riders and mobility and take it. That's your best bet. But the Khorne throwing axes with fire damage, a very good counter against the big tree people. Looks like the Khorne cavalry going to be charging in. Durthu being attacked by the great weapons. Looks like the Glade character also going to be circle beaten right here. And I don't see much hope for our boy Xiphos. As he's sitting at 95. Platypus sinking in the deadly platypus talons. Apparently poisoned. Pretty funny stuff. Chaos Warriors moving up. And back objective owned by Platypus as well. Showing excellent map control, excellent awareness. Clearly quite practiced here as the Marauders with dual weapons and Warriors holding on. And that is going to be a tap out, ladies and gentlemen. And that's going to be the next match coming up. So now we have a repeat of the grand finals of the World Championship. So the last Total War Warhammer World Championship was between Platypus and Houseplant. Two clanmates in RTK, clearly showing they're one of the best multiplayer clans in Total War Warhammer. They will be coming in and having a bit of a rematch here. So let us get that set up here. Durthu, only 800 value, pretty rough. The problem with Wildwood Rangers in this matchup is that they are lightly armored. So Cornate Chaff units will mess them up and do a lot of damage. Fleshhounds will do a ton of damage. Chaos Knights, Warriors, they're just a little bit too squishy for their cost. I like the Hawk Rider tech. I thought that was pretty cool, like using them against Chaos Knights, but at the end of the day, the positioning was rough. So let's get this grand final set up here. And let's invite the mighty... Xiphos says, I totally forgot Khorne had throwing axes with fire. Yeah, it's an easy thing to forget. It's an easy thing to forget, my friend. All right, so let's update this. That is a 2-0 victory for Platypus. And now we can go get Houseplant in here, reset the score. And this is the grand final of today's tournament. So the maps for today, let's go ahead and scroll up and see what they're going to be. Where art thou? Where art thou? So we have the Lost Temple of Sotek and the Rift at the World's Edge Mountains is our second map. Just copy and pasting the maps for the players. Lost Temple of Sotek's one. I really like that map. It's like a small brawler map. It's very fun. Very, very fun. Yeah, Rangers are only anti-large in the forest, which is weird. I don't know why that is. They should have just made them anti-large always. That would have been cool. It's kind of like redundant though, because like Wood Elves already have anti-large armor piercing with Eternal Guard, which are a really good unit. So I don't know, like, yeah, Wildwood Rangers just need a look at. They're just weird. They're just very, very weird. Okay. So the battle will soon be on. The players are going to do their picks and bans. We have the it's in the in-tournament announcement. Let me check. I got to scroll up, answer some questions for the players here real quick. Okay, so where's this? Looks good. And Xiphos in finals, whenever top bracket starts. So the top bracket would be Houseplant. House does. All right, Frostlight, thank you for the 10. Demogryph Knights. That scene in the trailer was so epic. Like the final charge when Kislev and the Empire is taking on the end times, basically. And there's a combination of Griffin Legion, Winged Lancers, and Demogryph Knights like charging out together. That's just like full chub, dude. Oh, full chub. It was so good. You want to do the Imperial Zoo? That map is pretty hilarious. It's definitely not good for PvP. It's like a meme map, sort of. It's very fun though. It's cool. It's like a... Yeah. It's pretty ridiculous. All right, looks good. Oh no, Cathay got banned. Platypus, no. So Vampire Counts and Khorne are banned, and then Slaanesh is banned. So in this series, no Cathay, no Vampire Counts, Khorne, or Slaanesh. Everyone else is on the table, so anybody else can be played here in this Duel of Fates. Oh yeah, it's good stuff. That is the good stuff indeed, my friends. The Lost Temple of Sotek is upon us. Not a great shooting faction map, although like bomber mobs, you know, Globadiers, blasting charges work pretty well. But like direct fire shooting isn't like amazing. Yeah. Yeah, the Demogryph Knights are one of the coolest units in the game in my opinion. They're so rad. They're very, very cool. What about maps with hostile mobs? That's kind of an interesting idea. Oh man. So like make it like Warcraft 3, Fidel. So we have like a neutral capture point which gives you a really good vanguard, but you have to kill a Carnosaur to get it. That would actually be really funny. Yeah. Yeah. That would be pretty nuts. You do a Carnosaur, like a Bastillodon or something. I don't even know if you could do that. I don't know. I don't think neutral mobs are possible in this game, like with the mods. I'm surprised we don't see that more often. Like, imagine like if you're in Lustria and just like have like feral cold ones running around, like in the forests. I think that could be really neat. So Bretonnia and Khorne is what they're eyeing right now, but Khorne is banned in the series, so clearly neither of these factions are going to be played. They are doing their picks and bans. I think they're in voice chat together. Let me see. These guys, of course, are they? Yeah, looks like they're in voice chat chilling, or at least one of them is. Cool, man. So they're getting ready to go. And the picks and bans are coming up right now. And as soon as I have any updates, I'll make sure to let you know. I will make sure to let you know. Okay, one sec here, guys. My computer's making some weird squealing sound. One sec here. I definitely need to update the computer. Okay. It's funny, like my computer makes these like weird kind of like sounds, and if I just rattle it a little bit, it actually goes away. It's very strange. My God, it's a random mob of squigs with the steel chair. Yeah, that'd be pretty funny. If you're in the Badlands maps, you have to deal with squigs. What would be the wild animals? And well, they actually added those. Like in the Reichland, there's like wolves and bats and spiders and things like that for Draika's campaign. So you could have those like appear on the campaign map as well. Good question. What would happen if we all use Total Tavern Map Pack and play Quick Battle? You can actually queue. Yeah, so you can actually queue into players with it. So if you and if everybody used it, but it's not going to happen. It's like it would be too hard to get because there's a lot of people who play Quick Battle who don't necessarily watch or even know that any of this is happening. So it would it'd be hard. Are you excited about the the teaser for the Dowie Czar? Yeah, pretty cool. Vampire Coast versus Vampire Coast? What? God, what is with these guys in mirror matches? I swear, dude. Oh, it's so sweaty. We have a Coast mirror? So Platypus picks Coast and doesn't ban anything. And then of all the factions that are on the table, Houseplant picks Coast. I guess Coast is top tier, so you don't want to give your opponent any advantage, right? Just go Vampire Counts or something. I don't know, man. God, man. Someone DM Houseplant and tell him to switch back to Bretonnia. How much do we have to pay Turin for him to do an audio recording for Lord of the Rings? I don't know if it'd be that good, honestly. Like Italian Spartacus would be better at something like that. He can do like a really good Gollum impersonation. I mean, I don't mind a Coast Mirror match too much. At least that's kind of fun. Yeah, it looks like, dude, Platypus had a build ready. Jeez, that was really quick. Okay, so we got a Coast Mirror match in game 1. This is best of 5, by the way. Let me go ahead and change the... would you rather have Total War Star Wars or 40K? 40K. Yeah, 40K, 100%. Okay, this is best of 5 finals here as we load in and get ready to get going. No, I don't think... Queen Bess on this map? Queen Bess is really hard to protect is the problem. Because, like, if your opponent has 4 Felbats, they can just send them all into Queen Bess and it's like a guaranteed kill, basically. Because the zombie mobs, like, manning the Queen Bess, they die, like, really, really quickly. Yeah, I don't know what it is with the mirror match thing. You have to remember, too, that these guys, they're all in the same clan, like the players in the finals here. So they probably, like, train together. The meta that they play is the same. So, like these type of things are going to happen because their range of factions are probably very, very similar. Like, extremely similar here. I don't know what lords they'd probably bring. Probably going to be using the Celostra cheese, I would imagine. Like the unsummoning Celostra and summoning Knights Errant would be my guess. Total War Warhammer 40K is going to be... Yeah. Oh, man. I really, really hope it happens. I'm pretty confident it will, but... I just hope it happens before I'm like 40, Right now, I'm 34. I feel like I'll be able to play at a relative high level in RTS games, like, probably until my, like, early 40s, like, 43, 44. So I just hope we get a couple years where I can put in the time, One gunbat can kill Queen Bess, yes, but it's not that easy because they can kill your gunbat with their own shooting or a Felbat of their own. So, hey, look at that double Celostra cheese, the ultimate sweat. Although the builds are different, at least we have animated Hulks and pistol mobs on one side, backed up by not backed up by, but with bombers and zombies on the other side. So the builds are different. Single mortar as well. So Solastra is really cheesy. Basically, you bring her with only the Knights Errant summon, and you just summon her. You send the Knights Errant in, and then you unsummon her to get a refund, and then you bring her back out and just spam the summons. It's really, really strong. It's really strong. So that's the cheese. I believe the first person to do it was Kark. Kark is currently like number 1 or 2 on leaderboard, and it's very strong. Hopefully, it's something that eventually CA will fix. I think it's the one thing I don't like about domination is like how unsummoning works. I think unsummoning like basic units is fine as it is. I think there should be like a 15 to 20 second timer on unsummoning lords and characters. Like they need to be out of combat, and they can't be in close proximity to other characters. I think like if CA adds like a bubble to that unit where you can't unsummon if somebody's near you, like in a big aura, and adds a 15-second timer, that would be good. So zombie pirate gunnery mobs. In the back we got deckhand mobs, also animated hulks. Over here we do have the Solastra cheese. Yep, Solastra just coming in with the Knights Errant summon. And yeah, we saw the armies. One army is going to be using animated hulks and pistol mobs, and the other army is going to be very heavily focused on bombers. So that is pretty much that. In 10 years, they'll be able to clone your hands and make new ones. You know, my hands are still pretty quick, even despite having hand problems. I don't know. I found that like when I used to play RTS in my early 20s, like I was a pretty high level StarCraft player. I got Grandmaster with Terran and Protoss. I just felt like I was quicker, like more mentally acute. I mean, I still feel mentally sharp, but there was something about like my reaction speed to things that just seemed better back then. When I compared like, 21 to, currently 34. Maybe it is in my hands. My hands are a lot slower than they were at that point too. And I think that's a variable as well. Like repetitive stress injury for like competitive gamers is a tricky one. Deckhand mobs, bomber mobs moving up. We have Solastra hustling, and the battle is soon to be on. Triple deck dropper with the pistols as well. So we got 3 of those bad boys. What are they going to be shooting? I guess they could shoot at bomber mobs or something. I don't really know. The Solastra cheese is about to be unleashed. You guys are about to see it. So at least you're going to get to learn this. So if you guys are looking to be a real sweaty player, you can use the Ghost of the Past and spam it and unsummon it. It's very, very good. You have less on your mind when you're 21. That's certainly true. There's a lot less stress. Yeah, a lot less stress. Well, I'm not really stressed right now. It's mainly just dealing with random health issues and stuff as you get a little bit older. Deck Dropper's going after the bomber mobs, and we see the first Knights Errant coming out from Solastra. So the Ghosts of the Past. What's really crazy about these guys is they have 100% armor piercing. So they literally do full AP damage. And they're going to be charging into Lamprey's Revenge and trying to get a little bit of work done there. And we see the other Knight Summon coming out as well. Here we are. Damn Knights Errant coming in, looking to charge into the deckhand mobs right here. And both players are just going to be trading these summons with one another. So here comes the big charge, and with Lance Formation on, they can definitely do some work plowing through the zombies. For those of you guys who wanted bretonnia, well, at least you're getting this. And yeah, oh my god. The ghostly mass, and look at that, just getting through the depth guard. Oh my god, look how much damage they're doing. Like, these guys are beat up, these guys took damage, the depth guard took like 10% damage. The bombers are just getting plowed. Dude, this is so disgusting from Houseplant. And he's gonna get the mortar! Oh my god. And like, the Knights Errant summon over here didn't do that much. It just got this. But that one Knights Errant summon from Solastra is just doing such brutal damage to the backfield of Menacing Platypus. Now, Platypus is the bomber mob master. And here we get the damn Knights Errant moving in to go after the zombie pirate gunnery mobs. And Deck Dropper's up in the sky as well. Gonna be shooting into the mortars here. So, mortars. In critical binding, as those Knights Errant crumble a bomber mob, finish off a mortar squad. Very, very nasty value as they continue to put a lot of damage in. Now, back objective is controlled here by the Houseplant. Middle objective is controlled by Houseplant as well, but there's a lot of zombies coming up from Platypus, which do have the bomber mobs, so they might be able to effectively push off the infantry. And it looks like this objective is going to be flipping right here. So this objective is going to be going back to the Platypus. Granted, Platypus did take quite a bit of damage. That mortar is down, the bomber mob's beat up, pistol mobs got smashed pretty good. And you guys ready for more cheese, baby? Solastra's back on the menu. So this is like one of the cheesiest things in Domination. It's now you have Solastra coming back, and she summons the Knights again, and then she just disappears into the shadows. And you can see how much damage that one Knight did. And Solastra costs only 700 when you do this, and you get a 350 gold refund. So you're basically paying 350 gold for all that like damage you just saw right there, which is pretty crazy. So, and you can also use her as like a fighter if you need to, if you're like really desperate. But Platy is able to kind of take control of the points. Platy's build, the thing about Platy's build is it has a little bit more of a presence on the ground, because Hulks are, you know, not amazing against zombies. And also he's got bomber mobs, and the depth guard are a really good counter against the animated Hulk. So even though Houseplant got good value with that initial little gambit right there, you know, I think that Platypus's army is going to be very good at just kind of sitting on these objectives. Also, I don't know how I feel about the deck dropper bats up in the sky. Like, we got 4 of the deck dropper bats, and I feel like they're just not doing that much damage. Like, one of the deck dropper bats could be shut down by like a single fell bat, right? But looks like Houseplant has gold chevron fell bats. This is a big play as well. Yeah, the gold chevron fell bats to win the fell bat fights. I think that's some big brain action for sure. Doggo's coming out here for Platypus. Platypus going to be attacking into the gunnery mobs right here. So the gunnery mobs getting nibbled on pretty good. Going to want to retreat them though. Definitely run back here. So run back to the point. Escape those guys. Don't want to be losing them. It's still 500 value that you'd be giving to your opponent for free. More Knights Errant coming in, and those Knights Errant do get a big lance charge into the depth guard polearms. But the depth guard polearms don't take too much damage. It looks like they are partially braced and partially buffered, but you know what? Platypus is holding on to the points very well. The bomber mobs are clearing things out, and Houseplant doesn't really have the same tools. Well, it looks like a Winds of Death's going to be coming down right here. Does he have a... Okay, so Winds of Death. Oh my god, those bomber mobs got deleted. But again, it's one bomber mob. It's about 400 or 500 gold for a Winds of Death, probably overcasted, so it's not the end of the world here. And it looks like Platypus continues to hold on to the objectives, maintaining battlefield superiority with basic pistol mobs, as well as the bombers, which kind of keep the infantry from being able to advance up. So looking at the value right now, though, Houseplant is up on value. Remember, both sides probably have access to healing. We do see a Vampire Fleet Captain here for Platypus with just Winds of Death. So no Invocation, which makes sense. The only thing you would want to invo would probably be the Depth Guard polearms. And it looks like the Depth Guard polearms going to be rushing through and trying to attack these Krabos, which is a little bit dangerous. Look at that. Houseplant summoning out 2 melee Depth Guard. Okay, that's going to be really, really tough to finish. Although, we do see animated Hulks coming out. Animated Hulks are pretty good against Depth Guard, armor piercing, and they hit very, very hard and can certainly kind of chew through those guys, for sure. Depth Guard here, the polearm variant, trying to grind down these Hulks, but going to be killed by their Depth Guard cousins here with the dual weapons. They, of course, are much better in the infantry fight. Granted, Depth Guard polearms do have good armor piercing, and yeah, they need to retreat right now. This is not a winning fight for them. Over on the backside, it looks like everything is kind of stable, just a little bit of a standoff. So if we look right here, we don't really see much going on, and here it's just kind of chilling. Really, the main combat is going to be taking place over on Objective 3, where Platypus is still managing to hold on, and Platy does have a vastly superior capture weight. So the double Depth Guard are in, but the double Depth Guard are going to be getting hammered by some of these haggard animated Hulks. I don't know why when I see the animated Hulks, it just makes me think of Steven Seagal. I don't know why. They have no resemblance. It's just something about it just like triggered that synaptic connection in my mind. Just the weirdest thing. Another Winds of Death coming down does clear out a bomber mob, but there's plenty more where that came from as they move in, and the pistol mobs up in the sky for Houseplant are slowly being mowed down. Looking at the value lead, it is about a 1500 value lead for Houseplant. His Celastras have been very, very devastating, and is he in the way to get this objective back? Animated Hulks getting worn down here. Lamprey's Revenge battling Halberds. And the Depth Guard Halberds, were they able to get back and fight safely? It looks like they were. And yeah, the double Depth Guard of Houseplant kind of got wrecked. I mean, there's a huge, huge doom stack right here, right? Hulks, Hulks, and Hulks, all of which just basically crush basic Depth Guard here, right? Bomber mobs are also doing huge work. So, despite the value difference, I can't help but think that Platypus is actually in a decent position. I just feel like their army is bigger. And looking here, we see another Celestia coming in here, so there's going to be another Knights Errant summoned in the backfield, which will be pretty good against the Depth Guard that have been summoned in. But those bomber mobs just saturating in and wrecking the Depth Guard. Brutal damage, as we do see a little bit of a side push coming in from Houseplant, which I think is a good idea. Like getting the 2 pistol mobs to sit right here and just kind of start wearing down these like defensive halberds on the back point. It softens it up for a little bit later. Animated Hulks using Aikido. It's the bloated guts. Yeah, I think that we're all kind of hitting the nail on the head right there. Zombie Pirate Gunnery mobs, though, finally brought out from Houseplant, and now that could be the turning of the tide. Those guys could do some big work, as we do see Celestia coming in for Platypus to summon the Damn Knights Errant in the backfield to try and run down the Zombie Pirate Gunnery mobs right here. So here it comes, and they will be able to cause some serious havoc for sure. Depth Guard sitting on the back objective, about to be charged by the Damn Knights Errant with their 100% armor piercing values. Is this objective in danger of flipping? It's a little bit close. It looks like Houseplant might be able to get the momentum back here. Like if these 2 bomber mobs can clear out the front line of Platy, and then they can just move up. They provide 5 capture weight apiece, right? So that's pretty substantial. And we do see the Knights Errant coming out for Platypus. Looks like they're going to be riding over here to attack into the deckhand mobs. Granted, they should be going after the bomber mobs here. That would be the correct play. And Platy's going to be summoning more bomber mobs as well, as now Halberds will be saturating in to attack Hulks. Bomber mobs coming from Platypus here, and the 2 halberds, they need to stop standing there and move across for sure. They need to go fight. Yeah, looks like they got the order, and those guys will be hearing the clarion call once more in the deep. Now, Damn Knights Errant trying to move past. It looks like they're a little bit caught up here. Nice Bomber mob salvo, able to wreck those guys. Granted, the model counts are already a little bit low. Looking at value trading, Houseplant is up pretty massively in value, like very, very massively. For Platy, you're probably at this point going to be trying to hold long enough to win on a single cap. Granted, Platypus still has a hell of a lot of time. It just now breached the halfway point in terms of victory tickets, so 760. And both of the objectives are being contested here. So we see the animated Hulks doing their thing, and not a whole lot defending this point. Bomber mobs coming up. Probably could use like a depth guard polearm or something over here to come and secure that. This one is being hotly contested as well. But it looks like Houseplant is going to be able to get this. So I think he'll get this point. He's going to wrestle it, and you know, Coast is not amazing at like taking points back. Their baseline infantry are very slow. Depth guard, when isolated, are very vulnerable. They die pretty quickly, actually. And yeah, it looks like with this objective being taken, we would see Houseplant winning on 2 points. And this back objective looks like Houseplant will eventually get this one as well. So I think the world champion is going to be taking game 1 in this mirror match grand final, which, you know, pretty interesting showcase. Obviously, the Celostra cheese. I'm actually happy they did the Celostra cheese, because now I have a video I can send to Creative Assembly or a clip and be like, look at this, look how miserable this is. Can you guys please fix this? It really puts it into perspective. But yeah, Depth Guard on their way. Going to be grinding with Depth Guard. And yeah, Depth Guard rubbing their sausages on other Depth Guard. Here they come. Yeah, they're one of the coolest units in the game as well. I really hope that when the Old World comes back, I hope that Games Workshop makes Vampire Coast a faction. Like that, I think would just sell like hotcakes. I think it would just be so popular. Back objective though is stabilized by the Platypus. Does the Platypus have any way of getting back? It looks like Winds of Death going down. The Winds of Death, very nasty cast there by Houseplant. That Winds of Death just went right down the pipe and basically took out all those infantry. So now this objective is going to be flipping most likely. The Vampire Fleet Captain, animated Hulks, and the remnants of these pistol mobs should be able to get that one. Platypus trying to get in here, but pretty much knows it's over. GG, well played. GG, well played. Is Steven Seagal an animated Hulk? Is that pretty much all we're talking about in chat right now? Oh my god. Yeah, he's definitely... I just love... Like, in all of Steven Seagal's movies, he's always just, like, sitting. Like, all of them, he's sitting. Or it's like a stunt double. It's hilarious. Alright, so... Looking at everything here... This is Houseplant's army. It's hard to tell what really did good in terms of values. It's kind of like a bunch of little incremental value, but he obviously did very well with his knights in the backfield, just penetrating in. He killed the mortar immediately. There was a lot of little things that, like, I think gave him that slight value trading edge where he was able to kind of pull it up there. So, yeah, and obviously Celostro's value doesn't really show. That's kind of the problem. A lot of the value from their armies was from their Celostros, but it just doesn't show because it's a summon, which is very strange. So, all right. So, here we are. The next map is going to be, let's pull it up here. It is going to be the Rift at the World's Edge Mountain. So, let's see. God, if we get another mirror match, man, holy shit. I'd be surprised if Vampire Coast doesn't come to Age of Sigmar. I don't think it will. It doesn't make sense. You know, like with I mean, okay, look, anything could make sense in Age of Sigmar, to be fair, with their realm system, but like, I think like having Vampire Coast on a planet or a world that has like a sea, like one sea that they're kind of like, that's their epicenter, I think is much like more of a cohesive thing than like throwing them into random realms. You know, like if the Vampire Coast is in Age of Sigmar and they want to invade like another realm, what do? Do they just like carry their pirate ships through the portal and just hope there's water there? It's kind of like, yeah. I don't know why Demons of Chaos aren't in ranked. Yeah, they're a good faction. Very, I would say towards the higher echelon when you talk about like good players. But yeah, let's actually go look at the win rates real quick. We have a lot of data because this season has been going on really long because of the content drought that we've been having, you know, so. All right, let's pull it up here. Okay. And let's go to stats. And let's go. All right. So yeah, Slanesh still the top dog. Vampire counts Coast and Demons, yeah. So you can see the meta. These are all like meta factions right here. This stuff. Khorne, well balanced. Isn't it crazy though? You do have to give some props to CA. The fact that we have 23 playable factions and this many factions are sitting like around 50%. That's pretty insane with 23 playable factions in an RTS game. These are the factions in the pits, Skaven, High Elves. Yeah, I definitely agree that these guys are harder to play. Empire sitting at like a dead even 50% just about is always nice. Dark Elves with 130 and 130 with the Druchii. Isn't that crazy? Yeah. Slaanesh obviously still being terrible. You know, an OP. The same old stuff. All right, so... So Platypus goes, Warriors of Chaos, Tomb Kings, Bretonnia, banning Dark Elves. Okay, so now we're waiting for the counter pick here from the houseplant. Let me check here and see. Was I pinged for something? I think I was. All right. Looks like all the settings are good. And we'll have their pick soon. Are you guys talking about Harry Potter versus 40k power level? Yeah, that's definitely not fair. I guess it all depends if in the Harry Potter world, if they can cast I mean, you can't even have that discussion. You know, like the Imperium would just like float like a massive battle cruiser above Hogwarts and just basically destroy the planet. There's literally nothing the Harry Potter universe could do against 40k. Can you imagine like Ron Weasley trying to fight like any sort of a psyker, you know, who also happens to have like a bolter and like a power sword? There's just no way, dude. There's just no way. I guess Harry Potter has the kill spell, but like I feel like, yeah, like that would, yeah, good luck. Good luck trying to cast the spell while also like dodging bolter fire, you know? What is the best faction besides I think Norska is a really good beginner faction. Norska, Khorne is a really good beginner faction. Those are always like the two that I recommend right out of the gates. They're really good for beginners. Yeah, just strong infantry, durable, easy to play. Yeah, very good. Yeah, I don't know. I never got into Harry Potter. I don't know why. Kind of with like I remember when Harry Potter came out, there was like in the early 2000s, there was kind of like the Harry Potter versus Lord of the Rings crowd, at least in my town. And yeah, I don't know. I always felt like an adversarial relationship with Harry Potter because yeah, there was like a lot of like discussions on the dreaded playgrounds about like which one was better. Yeah, and the answer is obviously Lord of the Rings, but yeah, I did enjoy some of the Harry Potter movies for sure. I did enjoy some of them. I didn't really read the books. I think I read the first Harry Potter book and just kind of it didn't. At that point, when the first Harry Potter books came out, I was already reading like the Dragonlance books, like so R.A. Salvatore, like Drizzt, and I was reading The Hobbit and Lord of the Rings, and to me they were just so much more enjoyable. Yeah. So beastmen? Oh, are we getting a beastmen game, dude? Are we getting a beastmen match? Let's try budget corn. Beastmen, no bans. Okay, we're getting a good matchup. Beastmen versus Bretonnia. Let's go, dude. Let's go, man. Turin's nickname in the school is de facto Voldemort. Yeah. Yeah, Voldemort. Yeah, the movies were fun, though. I enjoyed them. Yeah, they were fun. Fun little fantasy adventure movies. Yeah, Harry Potter and Lord of the Rings are very different genres too. But also in the early 2000s, you know, you had the Lord of the Rings trilogy, which was a massive fantasy film, and then you had the Harry Potter films and books, and so like you can understand why people would draw parallels, right? Because they were the two major fantasy IPs of their time. So drawing parallels is no, and they even took jabs at each other at like award shows and things like that. You would often see that. So, dude, I love the Kazrak is my favorite little My Little Pony character. Oh my god. Piers Anthony books? No, I didn't. Like my foundational reading was Tolkien as a kid, and R.A. Salvatore. Like Salvatore's Drizzt series, like the first like 12 books in that, like I remember just devouring those. Yeah, those were so fun. Oh my god, look how awful this Beastman looks, dude. That looks like one of my paint jobs. Oh my god. Do you guys see this? Look at this absolute abomination. That's like scarier than any of the other Chaos stuff, dude. Look at that. So obviously, against the forces of Bretonnia, Minotaur Grey Opens are your intuitive pick, but The big brain Bretonnia play from Houseplant doesn't bring any cavalry. He just goes Men-at-Arms, Grail Reliques, and Lewin. Holy shit. Oh my god, I love it. Dude, it's happening. Are you guys excited? Grail Reliques are actually no joke. I lost the game on stream the other day against Plague Penguin because I couldn't break his leadership with Bretonnia. The value was like dead even, but I couldn't get him off objectives because his Grail Reliques were just like anchoring all these units. Oh, you guys don't see it? You should see it. Yeah, you see the fake tan. Yeah, that guy's been getting too many spray tans, yeah. Autumn, your comment made me laugh pretty hard. Not gonna lie. Oh my god, look at some. Oh my god. This is so good. Oh man, now you got me thinking about it. Yeah, pretty hilarious. Alright. So Ungor Spearmen in the front. Looks like there's going to be 5 of those, backed up by a bunch of Minotaurs with great weapons, which, again, are very good, but the Beastmen are going to need to find a way to effectively clear these infantry out. Traderkin is a really, really good spell. Does this guy just look, does he look as, like, he doesn't look as terrible in the game. Like, he looks normal here, but, like, when you look at his portrait, he just looks like the Lord of the Spray Tans. Oh my god. Grail Relique made Anticity Rage quit Warhammer 3. I don't think the Grail Relique was the real reason. It was probably like a bunch of compounding issues, but it could have been like the last straw for sure. Now, for the Bretonian army, it's going to be peasant mobs. It's going to be spearmen at arms, halberds. Basically, what's going to happen is he's going to hard counter the Beastmen initial army, and then when the Beastmen bring in anti-infantry, he'll bring in Knights Errant to counter those, and Knights of the Realm. So it should be quite a bit of fun. So we got the Curse of Onrare, as well as Pan's Impenetrable Pelt, so a couple of the buffing spells. Grail Relique's going to be moving up, and look at this. Peasant mobs rocking 56 leadership and immune to psychology. How crazy is that? How crazy is that? That is truly bro. I mean, a 56 leadership unit, you know, that's immune to psychology for 100 gold, you know, when you mix them with Grail Reliques, that actually feels pretty damn good. Now, what is the answer going to be? Gore Herds? No, Ungor Raiders. Okay, Ungor Raiders are a good choice. Ungor Raiders can shoot into polearms pretty well. Like, so Men-at-Arms with polearms, quite vulnerable there. Lewin certainly could dominate this caster. The Brave Shaman needs to be careful. So Menacing Platypus on the forces of Bretonnia. Houseplant. Oh, I got them confused. Okay, I thought it was the other way around. So Houseplant has the Beastmen army, and the forces of Bretonnia are going to be controlled by Platypus. So Platypus with the big brain Bretonian play. Thought it was Houseplant for some reason. I don't know why. I misread who they picked. Now on the other side, Spearmen at Arms moving up. More Spearmen as well. We do have Minotaurs and Minotaurs getting ready to party. On the back objective, the Lord of the Spray Tan is going to be sitting here and just kind of hanging out and just getting ready to cast some Traderkins. But there's not really too many blobs for him to hit. Now, first charge is coming in. Butchers of Kalkengard versus Peasant Mobs. Talk about a great matchup. Imagine being one of these peasants. You're just like some haggard farmer who's malnutritioned, and they're just like, they give you like a pitchfork, and they're like, yeah, go battle these 12-foot tall beast people. Have fun with that. You know what? They hold like champs, and look at that. Even eating a Minotaur charge to the face, those Chad peasants are still confident, which is pretty insane for sure. Objective's going to be opening up. Bretonnia going to be firmly controlling objective number 3 here, and they'll probably be slowly working their way towards objective 2, I would imagine. Dude, these peasants are holding so long against the Butchers of Kalkengard. Because they're immune to terror as well. The ITP. The insane troll posse. So, Spearman now saturating in. Spearman will be a little bit better. I wouldn't hate for Lewin to go down here and help. Like, have him come fight the Butchers here a little bit. We get more peasant mobs pushing into the backfield as well. So here they come. Peasant mobs heading into the Ungor Raiders. And we do have more peasant mobs over here, which are going to be attacked by Minotaurs with the dual weapons. Yes, yes. So these Chad peasants once again. Okay, these guys look like spray tans too. These guys look like they've been getting some spray tans. These other Minotaurs as well. So someone's suggesting they should focus the Grail Reliques. It's harder than you think. Grail Reliques are kind of weird targets. I mean, obviously if you can pick them off. And the problem with Grail Reliques is they only cost 300 gold. So if you kill them, it's like you have to put in a lot of effort to kill them, usually with single entities or some sort of an expensive Minotaur type unit. And you can just resummon them pretty quickly, right? So they're definitely a little bit problematic. King Lewin going to be landing over on this side, backing up his polearms. And look at that, we actually got some Grail Knights coming out. Oh yeah, so Grail Knights got the pans in. Oh no, the Grail Knights need to flee the scene. Looks like a partial escape. Thank you, Brian. I really appreciate it. The Grail Knights going to be fleeing the scene. They do get the physical resist, and the polearms holding quite firm under the banner of the king as he continues to hold down this position. The Minotaurs afflicted by the Sword of Corone and the Curse of Onrare. Melee defense going to be 0. Some massive debuff stacking here from the Menacing Platypus. as he is able to kind of run over all of these Minotaurs here on the far side. Honestly, Bretonnia trading pretty well. The Grail Knights here really doing great work. Bretonnians seem to be holding back the Minotaur charge as well and kind of slowly grinding their way up towards that middle point here as King Lewin does claim victory for the lady on this side. So one unit of Minotaurs is wrecked, and the other one is going to be dispatched most likely by these polearms, as the Grail Knights do pull back as well. Dude, what great Grail Knight play. And now we have another Cav unit coming in. It's going to be Knights of the Realm. And now that a lot of the Minotaurs are starting to get a little bit softened up from the saturated combat with like polearms and halberds. And look at this! The Bretonnians are pushing through the woods! The Grail Relique and the polearms pushing back the Bray herd. The brave sons of Bretonnia fighting under the banner of the king, as he is going to be taking down these Minotaurs on the far side. Grail Knights getting another charge into them, and then they bounce out and go after these guys. Archers moving up to deal with Ungor Spearmen, who are unshielded, mind you. And Bretonnia seems to be getting good momentum, but the beastmen could still obviously get some good picks and get back in this game. But overall, it looks like Bretonnia is going to be finding a way to get this objective eventually. Granted, Bretonnian baseline infantry have terrible capture weight, so it's a little bit precarious for sure. Lewin, once again, leading the charge. Everybody's so used to seeing the Fey Enchantress that, you know, when Lewin finally makes an appearance, it's certainly a little bit strange. But yeah, Spearmen will trade very well into Minotaurs, backed up by King Lewin, and you can see they're certainly able to kind of drag them down a little bit. And Lewin is like wisely not overextending in an open field. He's always fighting with his troops, so he doesn't get caught in the open by the Minotaurs. So Grail Knights continuing to hunt. It looks like the Grail Knights actually get a decent little charge on the Grog Hooves, the Centaur Throwing Axe ROR on the far side, but the Grail Knights will finally be dispatched. More Knights of the Realm on their way in, and high ground objective firmly controlled by Bretonnia. Middle objective going to be taken for the lady as well. As good luck getting these like polearms off now, right? Without Gore Herds, okay, Gore Herds are on their way in. Gore Herds are the right choice. They're very good against polearms. They just hit super hard. They have a great charge bonus, but the Grail Relique is going to make them very tough to remove. So the objective has flipped for Bretonnia. Really good play here by Houseplant. He's got the two Raiders shooting in, and the Raiders are putting some decent hurt onto the halberds. Again, the leadership's going to make it very tough to get rid of them, but now we do have a double cap for the lady. In the backfield, Minotaurs with Great Weapons hit by the Curse again. Look at that. 12 melee attack and 8 melee defense, dude. Those debuff layering from Bretonnia is so badass. Knights of the Realm trading pretty well into them, backed up by the King, of course. The Grog Hooves on the backside, Centaur ROR doing some excellent harass. So good isolation here by Houseplant as he is able to take down those bad boys. And the Minotaurs are broken once again. Dude, the Minotaurs are just being farmed by the Bretonnian cavalry. Just absolutely farmed, which is super righteous, and we love to see it. Dude, that Bretonnian moment in the Immortal Empires trailer with like Lewin, Alberic, and Rapunzel charging was so epic. Oh, I loved it. It was so good. The Grog Hooves still doing some good backfield harass. It looks like there's going to be some Knights of the Realm coming across to try and head them off. Middle objective is pretty hotly contested now that the Beastmen have some Gore Herds here. The Gore Herds are going to be providing good capture weight, because Men-at-Arms have expendable capture weight. Even, you know, the polearms, which I feel like they shouldn't. I feel like they should have better capture weight. But the only Bretonnian infantry have good capture weight are Battle Pilgrims and Foot Squires. Everybody else has the expendable weight. Knights of the Realm here, running over the Gore Herds with shields, looking at the objective situation. 1 is owned by the Beastmen, 2 is owned by Bretonnia, but only for a couple more seconds. And objective 3 is owned by a couple peasant mobs and some polearms here. But it looks like some Centaurs coming across. Might be looking to rat off these peasants, so I think right here, Platypus might want to pull back those halberds to get onto the point. We'll have to see. So Lewin is back in the middle. Going to be trying to get some terror routes, I would imagine. Charges into the back of these Ungor Spearmen. Probably will lead to some sort of a terror route. Look how long these polearms are holding. It's pretty insane with the Grail Relique, but Gore Herds, once they get out on the battlefield, they're going to be able to trade very cost effectively here. Now, Bretonnia is up in value, but the Beastmen certainly are starting to take over map control, which is very much like, I would say, very lore-friendly for the Beastmen. They're often getting pounded, but they are ambushing and kind of swarming all over the battlefield and, you know, causing a lot of havoc like that. So what do we have in the back? More archers coming out, but this one sweeper unit has been like a huge MVP. The fact that Houseplant is just chilling back here with the Centaur and basically just picking off archers, and we see a mass break from Bretonnia in the middle. Most of the units did break. There still is some men-at-arms fighting over here against these Ungors, but yeah, that is a nice break for sure. As the Lord of Spraytans over here is able to take objective 1 and make sure that's controlled. Knights of the Realm chasing down Minotaurs, but now the Beastmen have the proper counters out, right? They have the Gore Herds, they have units that are going to be effectively trading, and the Beastmen are starting to close the value gap, which is to be expected, because, you know, the polearm and spearmen going to get annihilated, absolutely crushed by Gore Herd type infantry. So we got the caster a little bit trapped up. This damsel is certainly in distress, and the Grail Relique holding it down with 300 HP, and it's, you know, it's only shaken. Lewin going to be trying to shut down the Grog Hooves, having a little bit of a problem there. I think we need some Battle Pilgrims at this point, and/or Knights Errant. So Men-at-Arms they're reforming ranks for another push, but it's not going to go good. Those Minotaurs could definitely plow them. These Knights of the Realm here. Oh, those are Grail Knights. Okay, so Grail Knights are back out. Looks like Bretonnia is going to be trying to resecure the middle. As Houseplant showing that world champion caliber play as he claws back from a very big deficit. I mean, he was down quite a bit. But the Knights of the Grail do encounter the beastmen here, but they will be a match for the Spray Tans? We'll have to find out. Grail Knights, really, really cool. But Traderkin is a great spell. Traderkin doing some nasty damage as the Grail Knights bounce over. Huge damage! Shock charge into the Ungors. Many of the Knights are still trapped on those Minotaurs, though, which is a little bit unfortunate for them. And the side objective is taken by the Beastmen as well. So a dreaded Beastmen raid getting in there. So Centaurs and Centaurs. Lewin comes over to try and salvage it. Looking at the current score, we do see Houseplants up 703 to 440. So it's a big lead. That's a pretty substantial lead. Your boy King Lewin going to be rotating back across. Lewin has like really been doing great, but he's been having a problem just being everywhere and dealing with the Beastmen mobility. This is where like a character like Fey Enchantress could be more impactful, because you could park her with your crappy infantry and she'll Mortis Engine and Chalice of Potions. So she's going to be very good at kind of dragging down such pieces. And it looks like there's going to be a terror route going down for the Beastmen as the Men-at-Arms continue to fight. More big beasts coming out. These are no mere beasts. These beasts were born and bred for one purpose, which is the slaughtering of man. It's the Butchers of Kalkengard coming in, the sad Bretonnian horse riding away without its rider. Very, very thematic stuff on the battlefield here. As the Butchers of Kalkengard look to be intercepting the last of the Grail Knights, which probably didn't do that good. Yeah, only 400 value on the Grail Knights. That overextending charge, like through the Minotaurs instead of finishing them, I think was a little bit of a misplay there. So, looking at the value though, it's going to be hard for Bretonnia to get this one back. King Lewin Leon Kerr fighting with his Men-at-Arms. But the Butchers of Kalkengard will be able to dominate this fight, and then from there, probably could even defeat Lewin, or at least give him a huge, huge problem. Side objective, still owned by the Bray Herd, and Platypus is going to tap out, knowing that the vice grips of the world champion Houseplant have clamped around the neck of the Bretonians. GG, well played, man. That was a great game. Platypus came out, took an early lead, was microing like a god. Really, really great stuff, but in the second quarter of the game, Houseplant adjusted his game plan and was able to then, start to properly counter the halberd spam. Great stuff, man. Great stuff. That was a really fun game. I enjoyed it. Grail Knights, Minotaurs, Spray Tans, what's not to love. All right. So if Houseplant wins the next game, ladies and gentlemen, it is going to be over, and he will be the champion of our Swiss League, which will not only give him a tournament win, but also goes to the old Hall of Fame probably. Glade of the Ever Queen is the map. One of our great map pack maps. So shout out to all of our lovely map makers for literally keeping this community alive. Because if we didn't get new maps, if we didn't host that map making contest and get new maps, I legitimately think like multiplayer would be in like a really, really bleak spot. Because the maps that we have are just not good from Creative Assembly. Like 2 of them are good, 3 of them maybe, but like you can't just play 3 maps over and over. Imagine playing StarCraft and only having 2 playable maps, or like Age of Empires or anything, right? Yeah, Houseplant is really, really hard to beat. Really difficult to beat. But Platypus is certainly up to the challenge. Platypus is another really top-tier player as well. Louis says, Beastman for the win. Greetings, Turin. Much love from the Philippines. Mabuhay, my friend. Hope you're doing well. One of my first jobs out of college was I worked at... one of I think it was my very first job out of college. I had a business degree, but I also had some writing experience. I worked at a Filipino newspaper in Los Angeles. So I was a staff writer. So I used to write articles and press releases for the newspaper. It was fun, dude. The Filipino people, the Filipino culture, the food, like they're just awesome, dude. I loved it. It was just such awesome people there. It was a blast. Oh my God, lumpia. We had a lumpia eating contest of lumpia Shanghai. So if you guys haven't seen that, look up lumpia Shanghai. They're like these little fried like egg roll type things. Oh my God, dude. That was the first time I ever got fat in my life, like overweight. Like I came out of college just like ripped in shape, and then I started working there, and there was a couple like older Filipino women who used to bring in like food like almost 4 or 5 days a week. They would bring in like pancit, like lumpia. Lechon was for the holiday parties as well. And that was the first time I went from weighing like 170 pounds and having like a solid 6-pack to being like 195 with like just bloated cheeks and a pot belly. Yeah, that was the first time in my life I ever got like real chunky. Yeah. Because like I would feel bad if I didn't eat the Filipino food that they would bring, like this delicious food. Like I would feel bad because they put so much heart and soul into it and were like really excited when you would enjoy it. So it was like, yeah. I got heavy. Yeah, adobo. Mm-hmm. The craziest was when we had a Christmas party at that company, and they had a fully cooked pig. It's called lechon. It's like, and people were like, it was a little bit jarring for me because I was probably the only person there who hadn't had it before, and I was like, oh my god! Like they brought the full pig into the office. I think I have a picture of it actually. Hold on, let me see. Well, I'll try and find it for the next stream. I have a bunch of pictures of when we used to work there. So, yeah, good times. So somebody in chat says my wife is Filipino and she made me and a coworker fat from packing my lunch for a year. Yeah. Easy on the excuses, Greases. Yeah, lechon. That was crazy. Yeah. But yeah, no, I love the Filipino culture. Yeah. A couple of my best friends, and one of my current best friends is Filipino as well. I think his mom's from where is she from in the Philippines? I'm trying to remember. And his dad is German, and his mom is from the Philippines. And yeah, I got to like have some Filipino food in high school as well. I played high school football, and she would bring Filipino food to the team dinners and stuff. Yeah, it was great. Yeah, good times, man. Good times. Good times indeed. Somebody in chat says I got fat the first time working at Blockbuster with boring days, staff discount, and a freezer full of Haagen-Dazs ice cream. Dude, you worked at Blockbuster? Hell yeah, dude. That's like a relic of the past. Yeah. Yeah, it's great stuff. Yeah, it's great stuff. I'm trying to think what other... Yeah, okay. Italian food is the other food that made me kind of chunky once. I usually run pretty lean, but when I moved back to Los Angeles, I found this straight up like super authentic Italian restaurant run by this Italian family, and they were just like, the whole family was just giant, and they just like would load up your like meatball subs and like your plates with pasta and bread, and I gained like 30 pounds eating there. Because it was cheap, it was like affordable, and it was like up 2 blocks from my house, so I would like walk there. At least I was getting some exercise, but yeah, dude, I got fat eating Italian food as well. Yeah, I got pretty chunky. Yeah, crazy stuff. All right, let's have some tea here. Brought by the Smoking Hot Wife. Tomb Kings? Oh, yeah, looks like it's going to be Tomb Kings versus someone. I don't know what the switch up is going to be. Platypus is going to be on Tomb Kings, and what will Houseplant pick? What is it going to be? Yeah, still doing it right now. And Dark Elves. Okay. Tomb Kings versus Dark Elves. Pretty fun matchup. Both very strong factions. Yeah, dude. Oh, yeah. Mexican food's great, too. California has really good food. We have a ton of awesome cultures here. It's like, if you want great Mexican food, go to Los Angeles, San Diego. You want, like, in Los Angeles, they have really good Japanese food, great Korean barbecue. If you want, like, what's crazy is, like, you could just be like, oh, I want to have Polish food. And you can find several Polish restaurants in LA, which, are of varying levels of quality, but, like, you can find all of it, and generally it's pretty good. Like, California does food very well. I had a friend who just moved up to Washington State, which I hear is beautiful, and but he was like saying he misses the food in California. Yeah. What kind of tea do you drink? I basically drink Earl Grey, or I'll have like this tea. It's like this tea that has a bear sleeping on the front of it. I don't know what the brand is called, but it's like it has a bear sitting by a fireplace on the front. It's one of my favorites, and I basically just load all my tea with honey. Yeah, Faction Wars soon. I'm going to be busy next week, like hardcore, because we're covering the launch of Company of Heroes 3 and Blood Bowl 3. We're going to be going ham on those. But yeah, of course, like Total War is, Total War is the anchor. Like I love Total War. It's a passion project. There's obviously plenty of other, games that you could cover that would probably be way more... if you're looking at from a fiscal perspective, business, that would be smarter. But like, you gotta pursue your passion. There's a lot of people who, like that's the big thing. You got to pursue your passion. I played a fair amount of Blood Bowl too. I'm okay at it. I'm not great, but I learn quick. Yeah, sleepy time is what it is. I love that tea. It's so good. Probably one of my favorite activities is to just sit with my wife late at night, and we just do art, like arts and like hobbying together. Like she'll be doing her awesome art, and I'll be painting minis, and we just like sipping on tea and watching some TV show. That's like my favorite thing. It's the best. Yeah, I think Blood Bowl 3 will be fun. I have hope for it. I have hope for it as well. All right, Dark Elves and Tomb Kings. Huh? Did you hear me complimenting you? Good. See, she heard it. I got the credit. I didn't know she was there though. To be fair, before I said it. Yeah. Well, I suppose so. I suppose so. Yeah. I'm going to be covering Stormgate as well. Stormgate's a game I'm very excited for. I'm going to be going pretty hard into that. I thought about like. So here's the thing, right? We have Total Tavern. Like if the Company of Heroes community would like want it, we could duplicate Total Tavern's like code on another website and make like a similar website for Company of Heroes. Like I don't know if does the Company of Heroes community already have like good like record keeping websites and tournament websites and things like that? Watching TV. Oh, I like that, Optimus Dice. That was good. Earl Grey makes me think of Jean-Luc Picard. Oh yeah, dude. I love The Next Generation. That Star Trek is so good. That's like primetime Star Trek. That and Deep Space Nine. I love Deep Space Nine. Oh, it's so good. Like Quark and just the whole crew there, all the Ferengi. They're so much fun. Yeah, they're so much fun. And in Deep Space Nine, you also get Worf too, which is great. Worf is like one of my favorite characters. So yeah, it's great. Yes, I don't know. Seb says, you paint with your cat and she sits on your shoulder judging you. That's pretty great. Yeah. I would actually, you know, I didn't used to like cats a lot until I met my wife's cats that she has back home. But I'm allergic to them, so it's tricky. Yeah, they make me sneeze and my eyes water and stuff. Yeah. No, I love DS9. Yeah, DS9 is amazing. But yeah, what is like the competitive scene like for Company of Heroes 2? Like, I'm curious, is there like an infrastructure for it, like a ranking leaderboard for tournaments and like all that kind of stuff? If somebody has any information on that, please send it my way. I'd be really interested to see. Gold Press Platinum, yeah. Quark is the best. He's great. He's really, really good. I mean, but all the characters on that show are pretty good, honestly. Garrick was one of my favorite too, the Tailor. Yeah, he was great. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, we're here on the Glade of the Ever Queen. It's going to be a Supreme Sorceress or Burning Head with some Dark Shards and Corsairs looking to battle through the forces of the Tomb Kings. Now, Nehekara Warriors do lose to Blackheart Corsairs, so that's a very cost-effective trade for the Druchii. But the Tomb Kings, knowing this, brought some Ushapti, some melee Shapti to battle and help. But then there's like a counter for that. Isn't it interesting how both builds like have counters for like something the other one brought? Like clearly, you can see these are two of the best players in the world going at it, which is very fun. So we do have a couple of the Necrotechs as well. Going to be trying to get some of those restores. Kotzep on his DJ disc would actually be quite strong too. Like just dropping some fat beats from his DJ booth. Let's see. Looks like he's going to be on horseback. Although I think the casket is pretty good against Dark Elves, like against Dark Shards and Infantry and things like that. So we will have to see. So Nehekara Warriors, obviously they beat Bleak Swords and Dread Spears, but they lose the Corsairs. And it's just a good sustainable infantry in it. It is going to be cheap magic spam, so spamming the Jaffs and Nerus to trigger the Restless Dead. So the reason why Tomb Kings players do this is because every single spell you cast will heal your entire army for 1.4% of their HP. So on a 10,000 HP unit, you know, that's going to be like around 100, 140 HP or something like that. So it's pretty cool. Double Ushapti. Ushapti obviously will wreck Dark Elf Infantry, but are very vulnerable against Scourge Runners, Repeater Crossbows, Dark Shards, Necrotechs. Both of them actually have the Restore ability. This is and Wrath of the Creator, which affects allies and unit. It has to be a construct. Okay, interesting buff. So I feel as if Tomb Scorpions are often a little bit harder for Dark Elves to kill because they're like so low to the ground and weird. But overall, we'll have to see how this unfolds. Now for the Druchii army, like I said, a fair amount of good quality infantry. Dark Shards to kill constructs. We have the Supreme Sorcerers for Burning Head. What? No Burning Head? Are you serious from Houseplant? I mean, look, Houseplant is a far better player than I am. So I'm just curious why you wouldn't bring Burning Head against Tomb Kings. Maybe Fireball down the side of a formation is like more cost effective. I'm going to be taking some notes here
I am determined.
as I sip on some of that tea right there. That's the good stuff. That is the good stuff. So in the back, got Dread Spears and Dread Spears on their way up. And on the other side, we do see Grand Hierophant Cringe Step as going to buy Okoi. Going to be sitting out in open field and just kind of waiting to party. Tomb King's going to wait in the bushes, which is smart. You know, they're a little bit more vulnerable to being shot here, so they're just going to hide and wait for the objectives to open up, and then the dead will march once more as they do move out into the open field here. If this game is won by Houseplant, that is going to be the series, and that will be a 3-0 sweep, which would be a repeat of the World Championship. And the World Championship, Houseplant did... I think Houseplant didn't lose a game in the World... Did he drop one game? I think he did, actually. I think Houseplant might have lost one game in the earlier rounds of the World Championship. I'm not sure. Okay, Fireball for Lord Sniping. So obviously he was expecting Cringe Step here. So he's just going to be casting a Fireball and just methodically sniping Grand Hierophant Kotzep. Which makes sense. Using all the Winds of Magic to just take down this character is strong. But Kotzep can also just hide behind this pillar. You could just like literally chill here and cast all of his spells, and I think he would be totally fine as well. Totally fine as well. I don't think he would forget Burning Head. I don't think he would. Houseplant's been very, very, I don't know if he's lost too many series in terms of like actual best of threes. I think they like maybe the odd best of one here and there, but when it comes to like losing a full series, I don't know if that happens terribly often. Okay, Fireball didn't do bad damage. I mean, it's no Burning Head, but it is a cheaper spell. Fireball only costs what, like 6 Winds of Magic? 5? Yeah, so it's very, very cheap. So you could just kind of spam this all day, and the cooldown is like super short as well. So objectives opening up. Tomb Kings are marching out to war. They can't let the Dark Elves get a foothold here. Where are the Dark Shards at? Okay, Dark Shards are hiding in the tree line. So as of now, the Menacing Platypus is not aware of these things hiding in the bushes. They are not aware. Ushapti coming up. Ushapti and Spears heading over to Objective 3. And we do see the dreaded double Necrotex moving up. So Necrotex are bonus versus infantry, so they do have some melee capabilities as well, you know, helping to deal with like the Corsairs and the Bleak Swords and the Dread Spears. And look at that, we get the Raven's Heralds coming in. Very, very cool. So Raven's Heralds are a pretty good answer against constructs if you're not seeing like Ushapti Greybows and things like that. So yeah, they could just sit here with their repeater crossbows and put a ton of hurt into the Ushapti. We do see a response though, Carrion coming out for Platypus. Carrion will be an excellent counter against Raven's Heralds, unless they're protected by a Harpy unit, which it looks like the Crows of Cain have come out. Very, very clinical play here by Houseplant. So you're getting the Crows of Cain. They will dominate the Carrion in combat, and you can also just land the Raven's Heralds on the ground and they can do their thing there. Ushapti getting into combat. Looks like the first buffs have gone down. Ushapti are such a cool unit. I really hope they make new Tomb Kings models. How crazy would it be if Old World just like exceeds all of our expectations and they just like make new model ranges for like Bretonnia and for the Tomb Kings and all of that? That would be absolutely nuts. But here we do see Dread Spears being dragged down, and the old Carrion going to be chased off by the Crows of Cain. But now the dreaded Dark Shard ambushes here. So Dark Shard, and we have 2 of them here as well. Dark Shard, some of the harder hitting armor-piercing missiles in the game. And these Ushapti are going to get folded like a piece of paper. Yeah, they do have the physical resist and the restore, which is going to buy some time for them, but as soon as those buffs wear off, things are going to get pretty ugly. But the Tomb King push, pretty nasty. The dead do indeed march again. Cringe Tep is hiding in the tree somewhere, I would wager. No, he's over here. So he's just kind of like hanging out and casting his buff spells. That's what Kotzep really does. No Sandstorm, although Sandstorm would be reasonably useful against these Dark Shards, actually. So Ushapti still pushing through. The initial line of Dread Spears is broken, and the capture weight here is going to be going to the Tomb Kings. Now remember, Tomb Kings are down by close to 1,000 value, but they have a massive amount of healing. So you have to take that into account when you're really evaluating things. Now some of the Ushapti do penetrate into the backfield, but they're going to get ambushed by a summon of Dark Riders, or excuse me, Coldland Knights. Coldland Knights with their spears, a hard counter against Ushapti. Ushapti have very poor combat stats, and they rely on their bonus versus infantry to make them effective in combat. So when they fight something that isn't an infantry piece, they typically do very little damage and are not connecting very well. So the Coldland Riders just dominate those Ushapti, and that is a big, big win for the forces of the Dark Elves. And the Dark Elves are often pushed back in the beginning. I would say Dark Elves of most of the factions in the game are probably one of the biggest counterpunching factions, right? Like Dark Elves, they like to sit back on the ropes and let their opponent tire themselves out, taking these big aggressive pushes and punches like this, and then they just catch you with like a clean counter right. That's like the Dark Elves in a nutshell. So if you're a fan of like counterpunching and some being on the defense initially and then hard alpha striking somebody back, then Dark Elves, in my opinion, are the faction for you. So we get some Skeleton Chariots, we get some Ushapti back here. More Coldland Knights coming out, and Coldland Knights will counter Chariots and Ushapti as well. But the Tomb King's infantry saturating okay, and still holding on to the points. We do see a little bit of a theft back here as the Supreme Sorcerer sits up on the point, and the Raven's Heralds shooting down the Ushapti. So yes, right now Houseplant is basically methodically taking down all of the different constructs. We're seeing the Ushapti being targeted. I believe one of the fake Ushaptis is out here as well. It's hard to tell. Is that crumbling? No, it's just crumbling. So I don't know if we've seen the Ushapti summon yet. As far as the backside, though, goes, the Tomb King's infantry are doing well. The dead do indeed march again. Akara Warriors do have the physical resist here, but we see the Murderous Prowess go down. So the Dark Elves going to be getting a temporary buff. But the Corsairs are on the retreat, and it looks like the Dreaded Platypus is bringing in the Chariot Legions of Cetra. So the Chariots will do some big, big damage as they just absolutely run over these infantry here. So nice charge right there, brutal damage. That's going to buckle those units, and the home objective could straight up be taken. So that's the thing about Tomb Kings, man. They're very, very persistent. We see a 2,000 value lead for the Dark Elves, but with probably like 1,000 of that could be subtracted due to the healing. As long as Kotep doesn't like die some silly death. And we could actually see the Dark Elves falling here simply due to just the swarming Tomb Kings. But, I mean, they do have a good value lead, and they have picked off most of the constructs. I don't know where Kotep went. He's over here. So Kotep was able to kind of steal the back objective right there. And now the Dark Elves is going to be making an attempt to get that one back. Certainly going to be on top of Unsummons, so you got to get rid of these Blackheart Corsairs. And I often wonder about the effectiveness of, like, Blackguard in this matchup. Like, I guess Ushabti wouldn't do that good against them because of the anti-large and their high... maybe, I don't know. Yeah, I feel like Blackguard and maybe, like, Harganeth should just, like, purge through these infantry before they can really cap out their healing. Could be pretty good for sure. But Dark Elf's going to be getting this one back. Is this the Akara Warrior? Look at this. So this Warrior, guys, is approaching its healing cap just from the spells from Kotep. That is nuts. And that applies to the entire army as well. That is why Tomb King's infantry are just so, so powerful. So Skeleton Warriors on their way out, more Skeleton Warriors, and it looks like there's going to be some Nehakar Warriors in the distance as well. And some Skeleton Spearmen. So somebody in chat asking, how do Tomb Kings counter Cold Moon Knights? Well, they have a couple options. You can shoot them with Ushabti Great Bows. You can tar pit them with Skeleton Spears. You can use Sepulchral Stalkers with their laser eyes and their halberds. You can use your own Necropolis Knights with the halberds who can fight them relatively effectively, especially with restores. Tomb Kings are a very diverse roster, and they have a lot of really good units. So they can definitely do a lot. Obviously, the build here was an Ushabti kind of rush with Nehakar Warriors and double Necrotect. But I can't help but think the Necrotechs weren't very good. I feel like they haven't really contributed much. Well, the Dark Elves do get their objective back, and now they're on the counter push. Currently 624 points. And the back objective here is still being held by Platypus. He does have his Nehakar Warriors back here in these Skeleton Warriors, which will hold for a time. More Skeleton Warriors moving on up. Might be able to hold for a while, but yeah, the Dark Elves are really putting a lot of pressure all over the battlefield. As we see the Corsair Infantry in sustained combat really, really crumbling the Undead. And in the last patch, Undead did get a little bit of a nerf. Undead have basically been overpowered since game one. You know, the faction, as Hadri's often likes to put it, that ignores literally one of the big core mechanics of the game is going to be very strong in leadership, right? So yeah, Crumbling did get a damage increase, and also their leadership got lowered, so they spend more time in Crumbling. And looks like Crinchap is going to be falling. So the Sorceress was able to hunt down Kotep, and it looks like somehow Kotep got trapped by these Golden Riders, and he's basically just going to be paying the troll toll. With Kotep dying, that's probably going to be really, really game over for the Undead. I think the Dark Elves will start to take over the game because the Undead will suffer a massive leadership hit, which they certainly can't afford. You see how all these guys started wavering instantly in tandem with the rear charge? So looking at this, the Lord recently died is negative 16. So that is really, really brutal for the Undead. Home objective going to be taken here. Like these Skeleton Warriors, guys, these Skeleton Warriors are sitting at 20 leadership base right now, like 24. And with that, Houseplant showing why he is the Dark Lord right now, with a 3-0 sweep in the grand finals of today's Swiss League competition. So congrats to Houseplant. He'll be getting another tournament win, and that was a fun series. We had only one mirror match, but the other two games are cool. Beastmen versus Bretonnia, and Dark Elves versus Tomb Kings. I thought that was a really, really kind of cool mix-up on things. So hopefully you guys enjoyed that as well. Today's stream was very meta. Like everything you saw was meta, meta, meta. So if you want to look at the meta, this is the right stream for you. This is interesting though, the Necrotechs. I don't know how I feel about that. I feel like they're kind of like you're spending 1,200 gold, 1,400 gold on things that really aren't going to do a whole lot for you. But I guess I could be wrong. Yeah, Houseplant did win the World Championship as well. Let's go to the Hall of Fame and take a look. All right, and let's go to the news. Here we are. So yeah, the total Tavern Season 1 was won by Voidlaws. Season 2 won by Voidlaws as well. But Houseplant won the World Championship. And yeah, the World Championship is obviously a really big event. Like Voidlaws was probably one of the only people who could probably consistently challenge Houseplant. But obviously, you know, he quit the game and also cheated. So yeah, so he's not playing anymore. But yeah, that was basically how that went. But yeah, you can see like it always was between, you know, Houseplant and Void and Houseplant here at the top as well, winning the World Championship. Huge event, obviously. Super well played, man. Houseplant's an absolute monster. So clinical, clean builds, super strong. It's just, I played against him before in tournaments a couple times, and it definitely feels like running into a brick wall a little bit when you play Houseplant. You're just like, the builds are so clean, the decision making is clean. It's like there's nothing that's like, not too many vulnerabilities that I see. Yeah, crazy stuff. Ladies and gentlemen, that's going to be it for today. Hopefully you enjoyed it. We'll see you on the other side. Congrats to the dreaded Houseplant. I'm really excited for the Total Tavern finals as well. Well, yeah, so I'll explain it really quick. So Voidlaws and Moffat were the same person. So they would qualify with 2 accounts, and they would get 2 accounts into big money tournaments, and then if they had to play at the same time, they would just have a friend play on their account. So to increase their chances of getting into big money events, which is obviously cheating. So, yeah. Yeah, the Houseplant has been watered for another season. AoE stream, well, what day is today? Today's Saturday, so maybe tomorrow. I might do some Age of Empires streams tomorrow. I'm not sure. Yeah. GG, well played. We'll see you guys on the other side. That's going to be it for today. Adios, do widzenia, dobranoc, and I appreciate you all. That is it, and thanks for watching.